What's going on, man? It's your man, DJ Big Mike.
It's your boy, TJ, the mayor.
And this is Beyond the Tracks podcast.
Your podcaster's favorite podcast. Gentlemen.
What's good?
We back at it again.
We back.
Are we doing any singing today?
I just did a little bit. Right.
Okay. I just, without Rome here,
right.
We should probably get our singing.
But we have an
amazing
amazing special guest, and I'm sure I heard he has some pipes.
He's got pipes and he's got bars. Let me just bring him in because here's the deal. This is one of the members of the Wu-Tang Clan of podcasts. This dude right here, man, got me back into podcasting. This is we've talked about on his show.
Yep.
He got me back into podcasting. I hadn't did it for a while when I moved back to Michigan, and being on his show really brought me back. Without further ado, from the Shit Gets Deep podcast, Matt Tyner, the pirate chef, is in the motherfucking building. What's happening, man?
Greetings, gentlemen. It's glad to be here.
What's up?
I'm so happy to be sitting in with one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. You guys are in my rotation for sure.
You go.
Oh, you're so
sweet. I eagerly await them when they come out. I really do. The sports one, I kind of briefly talked to you, when we were talking about me coming over here with that.
Yeah.
I think that hit home with me and probably everybody listened to it. That I was like, take me back. Take me back.
We got a lot of feedback.
Of it, yeah.
A lot of positive feedback from that show.
Good. Yeah, man. I've been listening to you guys since you started. We've had you guys on a couple times, on our rinky dink talking about crazy shit.
Y'all talk about some crazy shit, but I like it.
But it's like sometimes it's out there, in the ether, and sometimes it's pretty grounded, But I just love doing it, man. It's so much fun. So I'm glad to be here because I've never been a guest. I've always been kind of. I was telling Big Mike, man, I don't have any show prep. I don't have any
right.
any folder in front of me or notebook. I was like, I just get to come sit and talk, man.
You just get the flow, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited.
You know what I was waiting for though?
What's that?
As soon as you started talking, I was waiting for party people.
I know. If you guys haven't checked out, he's from the Shit Gets Deep podcast. It's a dope ass podcast. The western base of Lake Erie.
Lake Erie. Yep.
You know what I mean? Is where they're shouting out. So Tyner is him and Beaker and a bunch of guys. They play music together. Science Scott.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
He has all the names.
Yeah.
Scooter Scott. We call him Scooter Scott after an unfortunate bird accident or whatever those electric scooters are.
Oh right.
Yep. So.
Well, man. And they're also sailors, and they do some really dope ass shit.
We actually did a sailing podcast, and that actually had, surprisingly enough, a lot of people did like that one. I was like, I don't know if this is going to resonate with anybody because, it's kind of not many people do it, I don't think, really. Like, unless there's a ton of people that like listen to sailing podcasts or something I'm not aware of, but I don't know. I don't really often bump into people that are like, yeah, I sail too, man.
No, but that's the cool thing about it though is that like when we were talking about that other stuff, that merch type of stuff.
Yeah.
I won't bring it up because I know you guys want to roll it out, but that merch stuff that we was talking about, that you were telling me about, that's the same thing like with the podcast. Is when you guys do talk about sailing. It's actually intriguing to people that don't know about sailing.
Right. Yeah, that's
just as much as it is people that do know about.
Yeah, that's the feedback we got, and I was just like, man, that's pretty cool that people listen, enjoy what they're hearing. That's what we're out there doing, just having a good time. We always say it's like band practice, where you just sit around with your buddies and bullshit.
That's it.
Get all your thoughts out. It's like a therapy session.
It is. That's what I definitely believe that.
That's why I love sitting down. It's like a therapy session with your buddies.
So before we go any further, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm just letting you know.
Absolutely.
I gotta have a lyric.
Coming like raw. Ooh, what you got? Tell me how you like it so far, baby. Far.
Yes. If you guys have never seen the Shit Gets Deep podcast, you have to understand. Tyner opens up the show, every show with party people, and gives it a Wu-Tang bar.
A lot of times my party people is kind of in the stylings of ODB as well. I'll do the party people, because that's how
I never even thought about that. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
I do it a lot of times. I change it sometimes. I'll give the whisper every now and then. Just if I don't got the pipes to do it that day, I'll just do the party people.
I wait for it. I love it. I watched the. You know how some people scroll through or fast forward through intros.
Yeah.
I always want to see what you're gonna what your sponsorship's going to be for that
Well,
week. That's all I'm gonna say.
sometimes we got some good ones. I'd like to thank you guys and that one you did for Mikey Shoe. We picked up a sponsorship out of that. I don't know if you've heard that podcast, but dude, we got a Harmony House sponsorship, man.
Yep.
Nice. We got a Harmony House sponsorship.
Yeah,
Shout out to
I
Harmony
remember
House.
that. When Mikey was
started
over
in
there.
1963. If you're from our area in Detroit type of area, lower southeast Michigan, you'll remember Harmony House. Good old Harmony House. I think we had a Columbia House sponsorship too, man.
Yeah, Columbia House. That's what I was thinking of when I
10
said
CDs for a penny.
Yep.
Yes,
You pay shipping.
I was dying because I remember that shit.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's plug our sponsors, get them out of the way real quick. What do you got, Big Mike?
We always got JC from JC Quality Construction. You can hit him up. He does everything from the key to the front door to
2x4 to the key to the front door.
That's it. See, it's been a while. My bad, Jason.
It's all good.
I haven't seen him in a while either.
They knew what
He'll
you
understand.
meant.
Yeah.
He'll understand. I haven't seen him in a while neither. I'm gonna have to call him actually today after this. As always, we have behind me 8 Mile Vodka. Shout out to Mikey Shoemaker, the Tomey brothers, George, and everybody over there at 8 Mile Vodka. They are doing some really cool things. They just officially announced, proud sponsor with the Pistons. Also, they are helping us sponsor. They are sponsoring a comedy show that we have coming up next month. So thank you, fellas. They're also involved in Derek Miller is throwing a fight here in Monroe.
Yep.
And they're involved in that, man. So they got a lot of cool things going on. So shout out to them guys over at 8 Mile Vodka.
Born in Detroit.
Cheers.
Born in Detroit, yes sir.
What else we got? I would have just shout out my man Lloyd Cheatham, Cheat Designs, Hip Hop Nerd Apparel. Hooked it up.
Nice.
One of ones, as we say. Also, we got lbgene.net. Check them out and get your watches. And that's all I got for now. I'm sure I'm going to say like 412 shout-outs, but...
Shout-out kings.
Yeah.
We're the shout-out kings.
That's what we do.
I got it, and before we go any further, see my Ouija board. I figured you might like this, man, because
I do
y'all
like
have
it.
had a couple
like
podcasts on Ghost League shit.
Yeah.
My nephew made this. It's just a Ouija board. It's stitched. So shout out Stitched by Jamel Xavier. Thanks for hooking me up. Good nephew. Yeah, you guys have had some really intriguing
We've gone
ghost
out there a few times. Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
And it freaked me out the first time I went to Science Scott's house.
Right.
And went down in the studio. I had to check. I said, "Hey, is this?" I think I had to go to the bathroom or something.
You
And
have
I'm
any
like,
Ghostbusters.
I said, "Yeah." Before I go anywhere in your house, was this the place? No, that wasn't. This ain't.
Nope.
The Okay, cool.
It wasn't. Yeah. You know what was funny about that is we did those, and I started out being like, "Oh, I've never had nothing happen, so this isn't really my realm." And then as we're talking, like, I remembered like 5 or 6 things that I kind of just dismissed completely, and I'm like, "Oh no, that was like." I kind of actually saw a ghost, kind of, or at least my mind thought I did. The black cat story is a story that I told on there, and I was just like, I was in my house. I basically watched, like, you know how the Cheshire Cat was like half there, half not in Alice in Wonderland. Sometimes
I've never seen Alice in Wonderland.
All right. So somebody will know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about.
You know the crazy Cheshire Cat that it's like the purple and
Yeah. I
and
can
like
picture
it'll
it.
be just its face, or you can just see its
Right.
tail. Well, that's how this kind of was. I saw like a swishy tail and but not a whole cat, and it just like walked across this thing, and I was like, I dismissed that. I was like, oh, it might have been a shadow from the sun coming in, whatever. I didn't really think about it much, but I just I just caught it out of the corner of my eye. Right later that night, wifey, I'm on the phone with her, and she was like, I saw a black cat this morning. I was like, I'm out, man. I seriously got
Was that
up.
the old house or the
That
new
was
house?
the old house. Yeah. That was the
old house is where all the stories are from, right?
It is, yeah. That house was built in 23, so it had some people lived in it from the time, I don't know how many people have been gone through there, but
Your house is almost that old, isn't it?
Oh, it's older. 1893, I believe.
He's still got a coal room.
yeah.
Yeah, we call it the dead people room.
Well, we had a coal. There's definitely there was a coal chute because there was a door for it on the front of the next to the porch, and you could see where there was a cutout that they filled in the wall where they must have dumped it down into the basement. That's where so there must have been like a coal room basically underneath our front porch in that house. But it was all like filled in and hadn't been I bet you there wasn't a coal burner in there for since
Yeah, we still got the
it was
little We got the door down in the basement.
Yeah.
I've been there almost 20 years. I've never opened it.
You just don't want to see.
Oh my God! Can you imagine what's in there?
Oh,
Nope.
nope.
I can't imagine.
Don't even want to
Don't
play
want
that.
Don't
game.
want to imagine.
Don't want to play that.
I don't
game.
like being in his basement just for the simple fact that room's down there because it's like this old like wooden looking door to it. Like it looks some like this like
you know
some
what
real
you hope
dungeon
for?
shit.
You hope it's like that Geraldo Rivera where they bust down the wall to find Al Capone's shit, and then there was just nothing there. That's the best
what would
case
be-
scenario.
What would be dope is if I open that shit up and there was just stacks of gold
Bricks.
bars.
Gold. I was about to
Yeah,
say
just
gold
bricks, bricks of gold.
Yeah.
Maybe some sterling
I'm gonna go home
silver
and
in
open
there.
that
You
shit
know.
up.
Yeah. Now you want to know if there's bundles of cash.
You do it during daylight,
Dude,
man.
there might be this place was huge during Prohibition, all the western basin of Lake Erie.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys had a podcast
We
about
did
that
a
too.
Prohibition.
If the people are gonna understand on this, but I'm a big fan of Shit Gets Deep podcast, so I've watched every podcast. Or I've listened to every podcast.
Yeah.
They're gonna listen to this
But-
podcast and be like, "I gotta go on Shit Gets Deep" because I like.
No,
them.
I hope they
like
do.
Them,
Hey,
I
we'll-
like them fuckers better.
We'll welcome you in gladly.
That's right.
Welcome you
There
in.
was when I was listening to that one, it reminded me of I won't say his name because I don't want people to know where he lives and all this other stuff. But he's from Monroe and he lives in his grandpa's old house.
Yeah.
And actually, they picked up the house and turned it.
Okay.
But when they did all that, it was an old speakeasy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's some real dope shit. Like he's got like a bunch of trap doors and different shit in his house.
Yeah.
It's really really
See, that
cool.
would
I
be
think
dope.
See, during that,
I think so too. But here's the thing. It sounds cool until you have one of them experiences.
Right.
amen
Right.
to that.
You know what I mean? Where the ghouls and goblins and
I think you'd be like, here's the deal though. I'm surprised that the few times that I've had it have been so like pedestrian. I just completely played like each time. The only time I really got creeped out was when we were moving out of the house. And I had like my wife and I talked about this the other day actually, but when we moved out, the way I explain it, and by the way, I'm not really, even though I come from a podcast called Shit Gets Deep and we talk about, I'm not like that much of a, like I'm not a ghost hunter. I don't really like subscribe to it that much. I'll say, yeah, maybe there's ghosts. I don't know.
Right.
But when I moved out of that house, I said like, it was like the house came alive. It was like it was mad that we were leaving or something. And some really crazy shit happened. And I couldn't dismiss it, and it did make the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It was like I basically heard a dog like wince. You know what I mean? Like if you step on a dog's tail or something, that noise. I heard it come from behind me when I was in the basement. The last thing I was doing was picking up a couple things that were in the basement. I was behind, like in the far back corner. So you know how you hear where sound comes from? Like I knew it wasn't my shoe squeaked underneath me. I heard it back there.
right.
And the thing that struck me weird was that was the first time that day my parents were over earlier and I mentioned the dogs. I said, this is the first time I got a little misty about moving out of this place because this is the first time that I showed up and two dogs didn't greet me at the back door. And I was like, oh, we're really going, we've been here 17 years and I said that to my parents that day down in the basement. And then later on that night,
She just gave me chills.
a dog, I hear a dog wince kind of behind me. I'm like, I sat there for a second and I played it off like I didn't hear nothing. And I walked upstairs, but I mean, all my hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. And then I rolled up a extension cord and set it on the counter. And the only thing that was left in the house was like some food in the fridge, basically. And I was like, I'm a fat kid, so I'm going to make myself a little snack before I get out of here. And as my back is turned to the counter where I set that thing off, the cord fell off the counter. And I'm like, the cord wasn't hanging over the counter. I just wound it up and set it there. So then I was like, all right, I'm out. Like,
Fuck that sandwich.
yeah.
I'm not even that hungry
I'm
no
good.
more.
I'm good.
You know shit's paranormal and it fucks you up when you're a fat kid and you turn down food.
Yeah,
like
man.
that's a telltale sign.
That little burrito I was making was not worth it.
I was painting either my bedroom or my daughter's bedroom when I was listening to that podcast. And it was like 2-3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I was in afternoon, so I get off work at midnight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I go, while they're on one side of the house, this is before my baby was born. While my girl's on one side of the house, I'm on the other side of the house painting. So, I got your guys' stuff on and I got it on the actually I had it on my headphones.
Okay.
That's what freaked me out is I had it in headphones. And it's like 3 a.m. and when you look out the windows, in my girl's room, it's woods, you know what I mean? and you see like foxes, coyotes sometimes. Like
Yeah.
there's all types of shit.
Foxes out here are awesome. By the
Foxes
way.
are everywhere
I
out
love
here.
them.
And like I just kept looking out that. I was trying not to look out that window because I didn't want to see something that would freak me out. Like I'm that guy. Like during the day, tough as nails. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? I'll shoot a ghost during the day, gangster shit.
Right.
At night, I'm like, somebody come save me, help me, hold me.
Yep, the dark's a different game. As soon as the lights go out.
And something about that, man. That nighttime. That
I think
weary,
that's why the basement freaked me out too, because it was nighttime. And I was the only one there. During the day, there would have been sunshine through the windows, whatever. But I don't know. It's just that one. Like I said, I'm not a ghost story guy because I don't feel like I have a bunch. But that would there's been a couple things that made me question my viewpoint, I guess I could say. Because I was like, okay, I don't know if I can deny that, but. There's always an excuse. You can always play it off like, oh, that was my shoe. I just heard it wrong.
I think that's what you have to do right off the bat.
Yeah.
So you don't get freaked out.
I'll tell you something crazy. Something was wrong with, I think, our hot water tank or something. I went over next door to JJ's house to take a shower. So I'm up there. Nobody's in the house. It's just me. But it's an old house. So you hear little creaks and things like that, right? Well, I'm in the shower. And I don't know if you guys have ever, got that feeling like just something.
It's pleasant.
Yes. And I'm just like.
Rockwell.
And I just stopped.
I always feel like somebody's watching me.
That's it.
Bro.
Right?
So, I poke my head out. I'm like,
That's
and
a
I'm just
sixth sense,
listening.
dude.
And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Or what is that? Like, I could just feel it. Hurried up, toweled off, dipped out.
Yeah.
Like
You want to stick around and find out?
Jason comes over to the crib. He's sitting on the porch. He's looking. He's like, I said, what you looking at? He was like, it's an old lady over in JJ's house. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, I seen an old lady in the window. Somebody at JJ's house.
By the way, JJ lives by himself.
Yes. I'm like, no, nobody's home.
No
I was
thanks.
like, it might have been the cat. And he was like, no, that looked like an old lady. I'm like, oh, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
And you know what? Mike's family, man, Mike's in-laws have some wild stories, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, seriously, pictures, the orbs, I know there's more and more people talking about orbs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then
dust
people
floating and
explain it and
whatever.
try to debunk
Sure.
it. But back when we were doing without phones, actual pictures,
Yeah.
there would always be her aunt and all this, man, and especially her mom's house. It's like some creepy shit. I still to this day, them medieval with the armor from head to toe. What are those things called?
Suits of armor.
Suits of armor.
Okay, she had one.
Yeah.
At the steps.
Yeah.
Still to this day, anytime I see that,
Yeah.
even seeing the when you're scrolling through Disney Plus, the Mandalorian, what's it called, Mandalorian, and the guy in armor, all this stuff. I think of that. How creeped out I used to be when I used to go over his mother-in-law's house.
It was just that had that feel.
Just it's old house.
Yeah.
You walk up the stairs and boom, you see this statue,
It's imposing too, right?
and you
Got the
and
sword.
that's-
It's
And
got the
every
sword.
Scooby Doo, if you see that statue,
yeah.
somebody's inside the statue.
The eyes move.
The eyes are
and
moving.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
yeah.
on, man. Come on.
Absolutely.
No, they got some wild stuff, some pictures with shit behind them, and my wife she's all into that. I'm really not, but
I'm
like
really
you said,
not either.
it's
Yeah.
some shit that you just go, yeah.
You do the RCA dog thing where you tilt your
right,
head like,
I can
what?
dismiss this, but if this shit happens again, I'm gonna be pissed.
But that's the thing. I try to dismiss. You know what I mean? I think that's everybody's first move. Which is why I kind of said that the things that I've had happen. Basically, I kind of there's a black cat. I'll be damned. But I didn't until my wife said something later on. I probably would have just left that as I saw maybe a car drove by and broke the stream of light coming through the window or something. Who knows? But I was ready to let that one go.
The black cat thing, the superstition black cat thing, I am no longer. I used to kind of struggle with stuff like
Black
that.
cat crossing your path.
I got scared that I was developing something because I would go check my lock 4 times. I started seriously, man. I was conscious about
OCD?
it. Yeah, man. I was really, and even with superstition type stuff.
Yeah.
But ever since I moved here, there's a cat at the end of the road. So when you turn on my road, there's a black cat that just kind of lives outside, but it's the neighbor's cat. But he's always going back and forth between the woods. that wooded area right there in the house. And so like since I've lived here a little over a year. It's been over 10 times that he's crossed my path when I'm coming home. So that was just kind of like, you know what?
You're like,
I have to get rid of it.
Let
like,
it go.
Let it go. Nothing bad happened. Good things kept happening to me. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck superstition.
But how about, I mean, just today, I had one of those days today, like where it does seem like everything just kind of, I came home, this morning I got up, run a couple errands. It's like a dude in front of me was super slow, and then he was going the same place I was going. I'm like, ugh, dragging my feet. I get to where I'm going, and they're like, oh, no, we don't even have you on the schedule for today. And I'm like, perfect. I didn't even have to come, and I was stuck behind that dude. I go run, grab my coffee, right? There's a car, the car in front of me. They take like 10 minutes at the speaker, and they ordered, 10 dozen donuts or whatever. They told them each individual one of what they wanted, and then they're one car away from the window and they just drive off. And I'm like running through waist deep quicksand today, because every single step on my way it's been like, and it just kind of seems like for some reasons motion. You're right, things do kind of build on each other, because I kind of woke up feeling like ugh today,
But I think it's your own energy too, though, not just necessarily superstition, because I don't believe in superstition anymore. But your own energy, you know what I mean? It's your perception.
You get what you give.
Yeah, I was about to say it's your perception. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like if you're in a hurry, you're going to be in a hurry the rest of the day now, because it's already. You know what I mean? So that one instance has messed up your whole time frame for the day. But I do have to fucking throw this out there, man, because me and Kieran talk about this all the time. Back in the day. So when I worked out in Arizona, me and him worked at the same place. And if you're late, all is forgiven as long as you bring donuts for the whole shop.
All right.
Foremen, supervisors, everybody, all is forgiven. We'll go ahead. You're fine.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
I like this policy.
Now not an hour, 2 hours late, but man,
okay.
if something's going on the E-way and you had to go around something,
gotcha.
There's like a million donut spots. Bosa Donuts is like everywhere out there. So you just stop at one of the Bosa Donuts, you get a couple dozen donuts. Everything's forgiven, you don't get any shit. So this is where it fucking started is if you're getting a dozen donuts, right? Oh, hold on. Something's going on here. Okay. I'm having a Kieran moment. I talk about him, and now my shit's dysfunctioning.
Oh,
we were talking about this before the show.
Law of attraction.
How me and Kieran are also. But anyway,
there you go.
So if you're getting a couple dozen donuts, go inside. If you're getting more than an order for yourself, go inside. For like breakfast stuff, not everything, not fast food and all this, but breakfast stuff, go inside. Like I hate that. Like,
oh yeah,
it's morning. People are just coming through just to get their coffee. Out of every 10 cars, 9 people are coming in just for their coffee.
Man, I've thought
they
this
might get a
times.
biscuit or a donut with it. You know what I mean? But if you're grabbing a couple dozen donuts,
if your order's $24,
come on.
And I'm behind you like large iced coffee.
Right.
Thanks.
Right. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. Starbucks motherfucking ass. If they would just have regular named coffee shit.
Right.
Because every time I've ever been there, I always hear people go, "What's the one with the with the
you got to say a sentence to get your order
with the egg in it? It's like the egg yolks in there. What is that? They don't know what it's called. That takes time. Hey, coffee places, fuck y'all. Yeah. Okay, I'm done. Ran over with. My bad. My bad.
This touches a real nerve because as the pirate chef, I was actually a head chef at a restaurant for over a decade, and the stuff about like working in food service or the service industry in general, like at a certain point in time, I know as weird as it sounds, like you're back there and then just the customers are now the enemy, kind of like. Why won't they stop with this? You get these things that really bother you, like, like for example, like how those people in there, they probably were, when I got up to the window, do you know the amount of like the sense of everybody being bummed when the kid at the window is like, hey, we got to cancel that last order, which was them scurrying around. I know they were just picking out different donuts and making a couple coffees, but they just did all that, which took them longer than any other order probably in the last half hour to have them drive off and not pay for it.
That's the worst.
You know what I mean?
That's the worst.
That's crazy as hell.
Yeah, that's wild.
Unless maybe they was like, damn, I ain't bring my wallet.
Well, I've had it in bar stuff. They order a bunch of shit, you know what I mean? And then their card gets declined. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
oh yeah,
I've already made the drinks for you. You might as well just have them now.
Well, that's like, I mean,
but you just took up a bunch of time, and it's always a complicated people.
If somebody doesn't like it,
let me get 2 shots of JMO. Let me get a shot of. Let me get a Jaeger bomb. Let me also get a lemon drop. Let me get a Bloody Mary and a Long Island iced tea. And you're like, that's the fucking hardest order I've ever fucking heard.
Do you get that too, though? Somebody just doesn't like it. I don't like this. It's like I don't. Whoa,
that's
care.
the difference between food and alcohol. You don't like it.
Drink it fast.
Go fuck yourself. Go give it away.
That's
I don't
the
know
thing.
what to tell you.
You've heard somebody try to tell you that they don't like it. I have the same feeling. Go fuck yourself, man. You looked at the menu. You read all about what it was. Well, I just didn't think it was going to be like this. What do you mean you didn't think it was going to be like this? Then order a burger. Order something you know what it is.
That's how I respect every place that has chicken fingers. I used to make fun of. Shout out to my boy DJ Smitty. Hopefully he comes home for Thanksgiving. I get to kick him with him. We just got off the phone with each other last night. But Smitty, everywhere we go, as long as they got cheese sticks and chicken fingers, he's good. You know what I mean?
That's his order.
That's his
everywhere.
order. Everywhere.
Because he knows what he's getting.
He knows what he's getting. He's
Right.
very picky. He eats like a child. I used to make fun of him. Now I'm like, no. I appreciate that.
Get it.
Because guess what? If you have chicken fingers on your menu, no matter if you're a steak place or hibachi, no matter what, if you got chicken strips on your menu, I know that nobody is ever going to be like, yeah, there's nothing here I can order.
Right.
Come on, it's chicken fingers.
You
got
know you
chicken
feel
fingers
safe with that.
You feel safe.
Yeah.
If we're going out to eat and there's 6 of us,
Yeah.
and they got chicken fingers on the menu,
See, and I'm like, I'm that guy to be like, damn, what the hell is this? I'm gonna try that. But if I don't like it, I don't like it.
That's what I'm going to say.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like,
How often did you ask
Yeah.
for something else and take that off my bill? That's wild.
yeah, I don't do that too often.
You know, if it
Now-
was terrible, by the way,
Now my wife is
I got no problems.
extremely picky.
Yeah.
But like she'll go to a place. Her pet peeve is she wants whatever it is well done.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't give a damn where we go. That shit's never well
It's
done.
not well done enough.
It's never well done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as soon as she cuts into it, I just look at her face and I'm like,
Yep. I knew that was coming.
she's sending
yeah,
that back.
but from a business standpoint though, you can always go throw that motherfucker back on the grill, a steak. You can't take the well doneness out of it. I know it's a pain in the ass, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying,
Sure.
instead of cooking a whole new steak, I'd rather you just send me back the plate and then cook it for a little bit
Refire
longer.
that bad boy.
Exactly.
Sure. And I got no problems with that. And like I said, if it's terrible, you know, if I ordered something and expected it and I'm like, ugh, you know, like did the cap fall off the salt while they were making this or something? You know, like I don't have a problem with that. And I'll be totally understanding as well. Like, you know, coming from the other side of that table, I'm like, okay, I get it. So maybe somebody's having a bad day. I tip waitresses that are horrible. Don't use this against me, waitresses, but I tip waitresses that are horrible double. Because I don't know if maybe they're just having the worst day of their life, you know? Because maybe it's not even
That's a
their
good way to
fault
think about
that their service was that shitty. Maybe the kitchen is running 5 tables behind, whatever that might be.
There's a difference though. There's a difference because if things are taking a long time, that's not on her.
No, it's not at all.
So you still get the tip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I went out to a place a few weeks ago. This girl literally, so she took she asked what I wanted, and there was a couple of friends I haven't seen in a long time, and I'm like, yeah, let's get a round of shots. Boom, let me get my 8 Mile lemon drops.
Yeah.
And so I got 5 8 Mile lemon drops, and I'm like, and then I'm also gonna have a drink too. I had just got there, you know what I mean? I'd like to drink too. Just give me 8 Mile lemonade. Cool. She brings the shots after a little bit, but she brings the shots. And then she gets to talking with people, and then she comes back. She goes, "Oh, 8 Mile lemonade, right? Yeah, cool. You know what I mean?" And I'm still shooting shit. I'm not pressed about the drink. And then like a while goes by, and I'm in conversation. I'm like, and my buddy goes, "You get your drink yet?" And I go, "No." So I'm like, "Hey, no, okay, cool." You know what I mean? Then she's like, "Oh, I forgot 8 Mile lemonade. I'm getting it right now," and doesn't get it. Now you're not getting a tip from that round, and I can't mess with you anymore. This is how my night. I'm just saying because I've been in that. I've been a bouncer, a bar back, a bartender. I've been wait staff. You can't come back from that when somebody walks in the door. You can get away with it midway through their session. You can't get away with it first thing.
That's not how you start off. Can't open with that. Right.
So that doesn't. You don't get. And I'll still tip you 10%.
I don't know. I might
maybe even 15%.
Might still tip her double.
I
maybe.
I tip 25% most of the time. Between 25 and 30%.
I thought the standard was
on
2%. That's what I've been tipping. No,
See, that's the black in you.
man, I tip hard. Yeah, shout
You know
out.
what? You know pizza. By the way, pizza delivery people. I swear to God, man. This is no bullshit. When I used to be at Jesus' house all the time, we'd always order pizza. Like every weekend, we'd order pizza over there,
Right.
and I always tip good. You know what I mean? Always pizza people. I always tip good, and it was almost like offense. I was almost offended because the dude was like, "Oh my God, man, thanks." I'm thinking, because you had to come to the hood and there's black folks, you thought I wasn't going to tip?
I can.
But he's probably right. He's probably right. Not gonna lie.
Hey, I can speak on this because I
you delivered,
probably brought some of those over to you.
No, because I know if you would have brought him, you wouldn't have been going back to the pizza joint for a while.
But I tell you what, man, I say this to people all the time. It's kind of funny. You go to the, those like the snooty neighborhoods where everybody, it's the new neighborhood. It's all the big houses, and you're lucky to walk out of there with one. But you go to the trailer parks, or you go, to the apartments and stuff. Dude, they empty out the shoebox. They're like, "Here, take it all." That's one thing
Because
that
they know, because they're in it. They're in it at that point.
I know
they didn't forget what it's like to work.
That's right.
Not saying rich people are like that.
No,
every rich person, but
I think people think about it differently.
they do.
Right? And I mean, don't get me wrong. I've gotten big tips in those neighborhoods too. But as where I see like a pattern, that was the pattern of all those years of doing that. I always did it on the side too. When I had one of my first real job, I guess you could say, working for Budweiser, being the Bud man, bringing the party. I worked at Papa John's on the side.
Bringing the party.
That's right.
I like it.
Bringing the party. I felt like that. I was like, this should be the best job in the world. I am showing up with the beer, right? Yeah, it's to the the party stores and the supermarkets and all that stuff, but
If it wasn't for you,
providing the party
they
favors.
would not have a good time.
That's right.
I like it.
So yeah, and I worked on the side when we had Papa John's way back in the day in Monroe.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was slinging pies at night and doing that during the day, working at Budweiser. Right when I first started, then I worked for Giuseppe's. Shout out to Giuseppe's. That's when I was still at Budweiser, but I wasn't working at the other place. My buddy just brought some pizzas up to the bar when they were just opening up.
Giuseppe's?
Yeah. And he was like, "Try this pepperoni pizza." And I was like, "Oh, this is real good. Where'd it come from?" He's like, "We're about to open up a place." I was like, "I get off at noon on Fridays. If you ever need help driving them around, you let me know."
Let's go.
And I basically did that for the next 10 years because it was just like going and hanging out with my buddies on a Friday night, except I got to make some side cash.
Ever since COVID, they're the only ones that deliver to my house.
Really?
In the neighborhood. Yep.
Well, you're lucky.
Marco stopped.
You're lucky they're on this end of the...
Tiffany stopped. Yeah, they're on
End
they're
of
right.
town.
They're considered Erie, right?
I don't know if they would be or not.
Oh man, by the way,
close.
too, it just popped in my head. Speaking of Erie, and that the shop, the liquor store.
The one that closed?
Yeah, man, I was bummed out. I heard
Midway?
your boy say something
Midway.
about that, and I'm like,
Yes,
he can't
sir.
be talking about old boy
Yes,
down the
he
street.
is. Yes.
I went by there, man. I was bummed
It's
out,
sad,
man. That was
right?
like my low key spot where I didn't have to go into town.
Well, not to mention you didn't have to you could hit it on the way out too, oh, I forgot. You're like, if you passed up everything, that place is still there to
That
hit.
still, yeah.
I agree. I know that was like an
I don't know nothing
institution.
about this.
I don't know nothing about it.
This is that country shit out here, dog.
They had
This is that county
the
shit.
Monroe Liquor
fireball,
Plaza, I can
the
walk
fireball bottles on the ceiling.
Yep.
Every day they'd come in there and do a little fireball shot with them, and they were like the whole ceiling was covered with fireball.
The thing about going there though is you're not going there and grabbing a bottle of Casamigos, or you know what I mean. It's like going to like a real hole in the wall bar. You're getting Jim,
Yeah.
Jack, Jose.
We got 30 packs of Busch Light.
Yeah. You knew what you were. I mean,
The basics.
you knew what you weren't getting. I'll
Right.
put it like that.
Yeah.
But I like the dude. The dude was always nice, man.
Yep.
Always a good dude.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name right now,
I
but
think it's Isaac, isn't it?
sure.
Might have been.
But he's just. I mean, you know how it is. You know people
Yeah.
by face and stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's like that. That's some shit like around here, man. That some city people don't get, or not just around here, but like big city people don't get. Like growing up and going to EJ's party store, and like still to this day having a relationship. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, shout out to John, shout out to Roy. Like having a relationship with them.
Yeah.
That's since I was 4 or 5 years old with a note from my mom to go grab her some pack of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like that type of trust type shit.
Right.
From back in the day. And still to this day, he hits me up every one of my birthdays.
Yeah.
Every year. I'm 36 years old. He hits me up on every birthday.
And that was your spot.
It's EJ's, bro.
Good people.
That was your spot.
Yeah.
Good people.
That stuff like that.
Good people stick around.
Yeah, I was about to say, man, stuff like that, like that's what keeps your community a community.
For sure.
Because you'd rather go there than go somewhere. You'd rather go there than Meyer.
Shop local.
Shop local.
Shop local, folks.
Facts.
Support your
facts.
locals.
I wanna get into something, Tyner.
Do it.
Okay. You guys had a show recently. East Coast versus West Coast.
Can we preface this with something?
Okay.
I wanted to make sure I put the disclaimer out there as we started talking about this, how hilarious it is that there's like two, 40-year-old white men sitting here talking about, waxing philosophical about, hip hop. However, like we said, we grew up, that was my music. That was that stuff was like not only on the radio, but that stuff was in the news, and that was when MTV was full bore. So that when we grew up, that was like our entertainment was watching these, this celebrity. However, go on and get what you're getting, because I know where we're headed.
Yeah, well, but
Jay-Z
I
I'm swimming with sharks
Tupac.
over here.
But I know, and Rome couldn't make it today, man. He's under the weather.
I
And
know. I did need Rome to at least even this.
This is what I
even
believe
this
in
up.
my heart. There's nothing wrong with Rome. He knew it was.
he knew he was
getting
getting washed in.
Oh,
Okay, first of all, let me start off by saying, and my brother can attest to this. I told him before I listened to the episode, I was like, man, this is what I love about fucking with them, is that I'm getting a perspective that I don't always get, because
Yes.
with me, my brother in Rome, being in music back in the day, and from a hip hop perspective and a black perspective, it's and different eras. You know what I mean? His era is different than my era.
and
right?
it's actually a little different than mine, to be honest.
And a little bit different from yours, but
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to listen to your podcast, because Mike can tell you this. You've heard East Coast, West Coast from industry guys since the East Coast, West Coast thing.
Yeah.
You know all the stories,
Since
and if
it
you don't,
started.
it's pretty much the same shit. No, I've never heard it from two white Midwestern
Yeah.
guys that are 40
Grew up
years
in a
old.
farm town.
I was interested to hear their perspective on it. You know what I mean? So I went into it like, oh, I can't wait to hear something different, so a different perspective. And so I am okay with with what y'all was talking
So,
about. But
I've realized something since that podcast.
okay.
I realized after that podcast, when I really started to think about it, like, first of all, I made a Instagram post because Mikey Shu also came on here and said Tupac, and this has been an ongoing. I think, did it start with Rome saying it?
Yeah, it started
Yeah.
with Rome
Okay,
before Shoemaker
and so
came on.
I made a post and it said, "Shit Gets Deep Crew stands with Rome and Mikey Shu. J Who is what I think I posted."
Yeah.
That he did.
Okay, so what I've realized since then is it's not my viewpoint about, like, it's not really like I'm more poking fun, but it's not a thing about like the music itself. It's about how the music makes me feel. So when I hear Tupac, I don't have the same feeling when I hear Jay's music. Don't get me wrong, there's songs I love of his, but overall, like, I don't get it. But you know how, like, some people hate, the Rolling Stones but love the Beatles, or vice
Right.
versa. It's very similar, because I just don't dig that music for some reason. I don't know if it's delivery. I don't know if it's the tone of his voice. I don't know what it is. But I'm also, like, as much as I'm into music, like, sometimes lyrics are lost on me, because I'm more listening to music. So what they're saying, a lot of times, don't get me wrong, I listen to lyrics and stuff, but what they're saying doesn't matter as much as, like, everything sonically that I take in, and for me, Tupac hits it home and Jay doesn't. And that's what I realized. It has nothing to do with, because, I mean, obviously, Jay's fucking been doing it forever. He's fucking top of the game, but I don't hear Jay and have the same feeling that when Tupac, I'm like, yes, here we go.
That's why it's such a fun debate.
Yeah.
Is because that's the same thing I was saying, is like, it's about feeling. You know what I mean? I don't feel, because what I feel, I'm going to use something you always say, right? Is that, like the perception, reality, and it's all subjective.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's subjective to me, because I remember that era and I remember everything. So it's almost like one of them, like Jay says, we don't believe you. You need more people with his battle with Nas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like believability, and something ruined me back in the day when somebody was explaining to me basically like, yeah, but it was the Biggie and Tupac debate, right? And they were like, yeah, man, but Biggie's always been Biggie. Tupac hasn't always been Tupac. And that ruined it for me right off the bat, because it's like, yeah, what Tupac are you? Like, I just refuse. Back then, I refused to believe that Pac can be 5 different people. You know what I mean? Now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm a man, so I know that you can have so many mixed feelings. But back when I was a teenager, I'm like, man, you can't hit me with a Dear Mama and then hit me with a Hit 'Em Up and then hit me with a, I Get Around. Like, you can't do all that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can't go hit the movies. And you can't be from New York, but you're super West. To me, all that stuff kind of ruined.
Yeah.
It was the feeling, because
the optics.
I'm just gonna tell you, like, Tupac has made some of the most brilliant music. I can't deny that.
I agree with that.
But you hit it on the head. It's the feeling that it gives me. I'm not into it as much as I Had to Hustle, Back to the Wall, Ashy Knuckles, Pocket Filled with a Lot of Lint, Not a Cent, Got a Vent. That Jay-Z shit, because you're almost envisioning it because you've watched the story of Jay-Z. Okay, the Marcy Projects, the drug dealing, just trying to make it out, to bring your boys, making the trips to North Carolina. Like, you see it.
Right.
But Tupac, I think, for me, is just, there's too much shit that you're going through.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, you can't picture it, because you're like, what Pac is this today?
Right.
I feel like
feeling.
Pac is definitely the better artist.
Overall?
Absolutely. I agree.
Overall? Just like, because he acted and because he was...
Overall, because he's a triple
spread
threat.
himself out, right?
He's a creative. He's a creator.
He's a triple threat. He can, like you said, do a Dear Mama, then a Hit 'Em Up, and I even, of all this, I was like, maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah.
Because I'm a hip hop head.
Right.
So I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. Shout out to Tidal, because they allowed me to just go through and literally listen to everything. And I literally listened to Tupac and Jay-Z for about 4 days straight. I drive about 45 minutes one way to work. So it was the whole way there, the whole way home when I'm cutting the grass. And I'm just like, kind of like you said about the feeling. I'm like, I was like, Pac's got some dope. He got some dope joints. But I'm like, Jay-Z got that bounce. And it makes me feel good no matter what. Like, I just can relate to what he's talking to, even though I ain't never sold a drug in my life, for the record.
Everybody heard that.
And it's it just makes me feel like get my hustle on.
I think that's what it is. It's that feeling that it gives you.
Yeah.
Because I refer to that classic Beatles versus Rolling Stones feud again, because that's one of those polarizing ones where people pick a side. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm a contrarian just by nature, because I've never liked the Beatles. I do like the Rolling Stones, but that's not like I won't draw a hard line on that one. Do you know what I mean? But I just don't get that feeling when I listen to the Beatles. I don't know what it is about it.
But what about Strawberry Fields Forever?
Not even that one, man.
Like, that one hits me every time.
There's like one or two Beatles songs.
Cuckoo, Cuckoo, Walrus.
Yep. I Am the Walrus.
I'm telling you, man, that double disc with the apple on it, I don't even know what it's called. Is it a greatest hits or is it actually?
I think that one might be a greatest hits.
But man,
with the green apple on it.
Yeah, and I don't consider myself a Beatles fan or Rolling Stones fan, but there's just certain songs from Beatles that just hit. And they've been sampled. Man, speaking of Jay-Z, remember Jay-Z would do mixtapes for his album before his album drops?
Sure.
And he did or after album drops, or people would do it and he would let them release it or whatever. Like, they did that one with all Beatles beats. Remember that?
Yep.
The Gray album, I think it was called.
Yeah, it was the Gray album.
It was from the Black album, but it was called
the
the Gray
Black
album.
album with songs from the White album.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, that's
Good,
what it,
good
yes.
concept.
Yeah.
Good concept. I like it.
The Gray album.
Maybe.
Yeah, Tupac can't do shit like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Because he's dead, man.
Yeah, I was about to say. I think his untimely
Or is
passing
he?
had something to do with that.
Or is he?
Or is he?
Or is he?
You know.
Yeah,
if you want to get deep on it.
I look at like Tupac as like Martin Luther King and Jay-Z is Malcolm. They're both great.
Sure.
They both did their damn thing.
Yeah, it is.
Some people on one side, some people on the other. That's all.
Yeah, no doubt.
No, I'm totally yes, I agree with that. I am never going to take anything away from Pac, and I want to say that I'm never going to take anything away from Pac. But I'm just
Jay-Z and 6.
Wow, I like that. I like that. I'm just saying, when I put on my speaker and I'm chilling by myself, I'm not trying to entertain. I'm chilling by myself. I'll go for my Jay shit before my Tupac shit. That's just me personally. But I think the reason we had such a big debate with Rome is because Rome will go way further.
Yeah.
And he does that on purpose.
Rome has drawn a
like,
hard line.
He's the greatest, like, you know what I mean? The most influential, and nobody can even touch. Right. And I'm like, now we got to debate.
Yeah.
Nobody ever, if you just go, Pac's great, nobody's ever going to go, no, he's not.
Yeah, he said, yeah, right.
But if you go, Pac's great, and that's where the debate
everybody else
can start.
Can go kick rocks.
Basically.
Yeah.
Right.
No. I hate to be wishy-washy on the subject, but I really am somebody who kind of gives everything a chance. So obviously, just in the same vein, you can't say, Jay's shit. Yeah, I can't say, oh yeah, let's be fair. When I put that post out there, I threw that Molotov cocktail.
I know exactly.
I threw that
what
Molotov
doing,
cocktail at the window on purpose because I knew I could at least come over here and give you some entertainment.
Yeah,
roasting me
I went
about
upstairs. I made sure the Glock was loaded.
Yep.
I made sure my.
He was like,
bullets
I got to
were
teach
straight.
this kid a fucking lesson.
Because you might have a surprise guest pulling up on you today. I don't know
nice,
yet.
nice.
I'm waiting for him to hit me back because he said he wanted to pull up on you. But but then our co-host Rome couldn't be here. So
Yeah, I got no help.
So you don't really got no help right
and
now.
by the way,
you might have help pulling up. We'll see.
By the way, shout outs to Rome. I love you guys' third chair over here, man. I'm bummed that he wasn't here today. I was hoping I would get to chop it up with him.
Because he knew it was about to happen.
He knew what side of that argument he was on, right?
Since we're with one of the 18 members of Shit Gets Deep podcast, like one of the 18 members of Wu-Tang Clan, and we were just talking about Tupac.
Yes.
So what would you be more satisfied with?
Okay.
Seeing with your own eyes a 100% it is in your face reality, there's an alien that came down.
Okay.
Or Tupac shows back up after all these years and he ain't dead. What would I got to get your shit gets deep because that's deep.
That is a really good one. This or that. I think I would take Tupac showing back up.
You would rather have that than aliens?
I think so because I probably still wouldn't believe the aliens. I'd be like, okay, what is this?
Is that a bigger wow factor too? If Tupac came up, would it be a bigger wow factor?
It would
for
be
aliens
a bigger
or Tupac?
payoff because we've been saying he ain't dead for all these years. So
I
could just be like,
like
I
you're
told you.
Yeah.
I told you.
Right. Okay.
Right.
I get that.
Because the alien
And
one,
now our special guest, Tupac.
yeah, comes in through stage left. But I think
If you hear me. Oh,
the alien one, we've had some alien conversations too, or at least UFO conversations.
Oh, I love coming on with those shows. That happen.
I can't think of what number it was, but TJ came on with we did a UFO type of podcast where we kind of discussed how interesting it is that in these times, basically everybody's like, yeah, there's UFOs. What the fuck? And nobody gives it any credence. Whereas 10 years ago, if the government came out and they're like, yes, there are all these things and we really don't have an explanation for them, dude, people would be burning shit down and running through the streets screaming.
But they knew what they were doing. It's a perfect time to put something out.
Sure.
With everything else going on.
So give me back Tupac, man. Just have him show up. All eyes on me. He just walks out, and we're like, "See, I told you. I knew it. He's been living
But you
in.
know what,
He's
then?
been living in Cuba this whole time.
Want to know why he won't come back? I'm gonna tell you exactly why he won't come back. Because if he came back right now, most people like us,
Dude, it would break
we would be like, hell yeah.
It would break the Matrix.
But to the world,
Yeah.
right? To the culture, he'd be canceled, and then he'd have to go back
Yeah,
to Cuba or
right.
wherever he's at.
Yes,
They would.
I was just gonna say that.
He'd
Yeah.
be
They'd be like,
ruined.
"Oh, we've been waiting for you to come back." Like,
yeah.
"Oh, you think that warrants fucking don't last that long?"
We'll
oh,
stop
watch
taking.
this.
We'll stop shooting at Dave Chappelle and turn our guns on you, sir.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
If Tupac came back right now,
Yeah.
and he would have to put out a Brenda had a baby. What's it called? Brenda's baby. Brenda's got a baby.
Yeah.
He'd have to put one of those out and a Dear Mama before he even
Immediately.
shows up. Otherwise, the culture would be like, "Oh, we got a cell with you right next to R. Kelly."
Well, you know what he would do? He would come back and go, "You guys didn't get that Machiavelli shit? Seriously?
Right.
I named an album that about a dude who pretends to die who didn't die."
Yeah,
He would just like
you guys don't.
he'd be like that
remember
dude with the meme where he just goes, he just puts his hands out.
He's he could show back up and it'd be like the equivalent of like Jesus returning. Jesus could return. There's actually a show I've watched. I think it's on Netflix, but it's basically Jesus returned, and everybody debunked it and didn't believe it, and it can't be true. And it's like, hey, this guy just came back. The Savior just came back, and you guys shit on him.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think there's
Tupac would come back, and everybody be like, oh my God, Tupac's back. But before you're back,
Yeah.
we got something to talk about. Remember that time you used the B word 36 times in this song?
Oh, yeah.
And then you used the FAG word.
He was not whatever, politically correct.
Who was in the 90s? We're talking
Nobody,
about 90s.
of course
Yeah,
nobody.
facts.
Yeah, nobody was.
That cancel culture shit, and you brought up Dave Chappelle. I absolutely love the closer. I've loved his last three have by far.
Oh, he's amazing.
It
dude.
has been up there with his what was his first one? His first big one.
The one where he's wearing the blue shirt.
Where he's wearing a
Can't think of
blue
the
like
name
a
of it.
jean jacket or something like that. Where with the babies in the
The
limo.
baby, yeah.
God, I'm having a brain fart right now.
Sprinkle a little crack on
Killing
it.
them softly.
Yes. Was that it? Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
It goes up with that, like because
Oh yeah.
like okay when he first came back it was like yeah, okay he's working out the kinks. The second one was like okay better. I think it was the second or third. No, the second one where he had the small room. Also, there was two shows that came out.
That was the third one, I think.
Was that the
he
third
did
one?
He did the big show, and then he kind of did crowd work.
He did one, yeah, with just a real small room.
Uh-huh.
The small room to me was fucking dope.
Dude.
I appreciate shit like that.
I think he hits them over the like 450-yard bombs or 50-foot bombs every time he puts something out.
You know how they always say that to every great joke has a little bit of truth behind it.
That's
He
why.
is the epitome
Yes.
of it.
He's the king of it.
and he does it well.
Yeah, man.
He
Yes.
does it well because it's like sometimes you cringe and you go, ooh, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but then his follow up is like,
Dude,
you go,
he started with an Anthony Bourdain joke on that.
Tell me how genius Sticks and Stones
Dude,
was, bro. In
He
Atlanta.
started out with that. And then
I was dreaming when I started hearing him
Man.
singing, I'm like, what's happening here? And then he goes
Yeah.
into Anthony Bourdain, and I'm like, okay. And then it all comes around.
Yeah, man.
That's like
That's-
that one before that where he
he's great
said,
at that.
and
where
that
he-
was fresh.
yes.
You know what I mean? That dust had not settled on that whole thing. And people were still, and as soon as he started just poking that like scab, I'm like, oh, bro. And then you see how he weaves that web. It's amazing.
Well, even the one before that, the special before that, where he says, "I'm just so great. I write punch lines and finish them later."
Yep.
And I kicked her in the pussy, and then you forget.
kick her
you
in the
forget
pussy
that,
joke.
and then all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, you're in tears.
He's like, I told you. I even told you it was
I told you
coming.
I was coming.
Oh.
Yes.
No, but that's the thing, man. And I think that's a big part about what's going on today. These are jokes, people. It hurts because that shred of truth is in there. That's why that hurt. But you got to understand that they're making fun of things for people's entertainment,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
And they're not out there to hurt you. They're trying to make people feel good by laughing.
And he tells that
You
story.
can't get offended.
He tells that story about that lady that came up to him in a parking lot at the mall, and he asked her, "Did you come to my show?
No.
Did you watch it on Netflix?" like because this is reality. Like he's telling her that
Yeah.
you just approach me in reality, like this is real reality. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're talking about a show that you chose to watch.
Right. It's almost like people.
I didn't.
People
what did he say? He goes, I didn't follow you to your car and say my jokes.
Yes.
You came to me.
Yeah.
For your jokes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
it's like the people who get mad at a character on TV, and then approach them
as their character.
It's like that's a TV show.
Yeah.
Like we have writers for that.
Yeah.
You know.
It is. I mean, even though they're actually coming up with these opinions and stuff and putting them out there is a shred of that to it where they're kind of putting it on a little. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because they are meaning to entertain. But there's another comedian who said this, and that's always really struck me. He made a joke that was super offensive to like a certain group of people, and he goes, and then somebody comes up to me and is yelling at me for that. He's like, but who showed you this? Like they're the asshole, because why would they show you this knowing it's gonna hurt your feelings? Mm-hmm. Like you're not my audience here. This was not meant for you. I'm especially not trying to hurt your feelings. That was a joke. But like he's like, the person that came and said, look at what this guy's saying, when he's obviously on stage with a microphone telling jokes, you're a dick for showing that person what he said, because they could have just lived their life happily, never knowing that dude made that comment.
Yep. That's like the old one that people always say, like if you were to come up to me and say, hey man, you know, me and Mike was talking, this is what Mike said about you. And then I have to ask you, well, what'd you say to defend me? Why is he so cool with you to be able to tell you that?
Right.
Then obviously he doesn't know that how cool you are with me, and you're not making. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like goes back to that same thing. Like you're trying to get me riled up by something he said when you didn't have to, because you could have just not told me, and he said something bad about me, and you just go, you know what I mean? You just defend me like, nah, man, I don't think. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be.
Seriously.
But yeah, that's what I was. I mean, with the Dave Chappelle, the cancel culture, and me and you kind of talked about this off air a couple of days ago, and we can have a show about cancel culture. So I don't want it, because I don't want there to be misquoting because I said something about this situation, but I feel this way about this.
Yeah.
But I will say, like, there is a difference, because it's comedy.
Yeah.
That's what you're showing up for. Also, there's also like a John Gruden situation that just happened. These emails from like 10, 12 years ago. I don't like cancel culture, but I also understand that he has a boss.
Sure.
Right? So he works for the NFL. The NFL's his boss.
Correct.
If I go into my job, I can think that I can want to say whatever I want to or do whatever I want to, but I have a boss.
But also,
so cancel culture is one of the things. You're a figure too. You're a positive figure. The NFL is a machine that's, they try to do the right thing. They don't want to offend anybody. It's sports. We had a sports podcast where it should do more good than harm, right? So that's the difference. Like
now,
because people have already tried to debate me, like why can they not cancel? Why do they cancel John Gruden, but you don't think they should cancel Dave Chappelle? Well, because it's looked at differently.
Yeah,
but
you're also
if a teacher says something,
you're cherry
and a
picking
rapper says something, they're not in the same realm.
Like that argument though, that's had right now, and popular people are talking about all these different situations. Every single one of them is cherry picking this weird little thing, because you look at the John. I can't defend what John Gruden said, but I can say that the NFL has turned a blind eye. I don't know how many times when they hear like, oh, this dude just beat the shit out of his wife and he's going to be in jail, so he might miss the next game, right? He's out there still playing. You know what I mean? Like they're cherry picking these things that are maybe hot button topics at this time. So for me, it's all kind of a show. Like it do you know what I mean?
But
when I saw that,
yeah, but that's a player, so that's an employee.
I know.
That's not a supervisor.
But when I saw that,
it's at every job. If an employee does something, if an employee cusses somebody out, that's an employee. Right. Hey man, you got to settle down.
Yeah.
But if you're a supervisor, cuss people, oh, you can't do that.
But that's an NFL stance, though. Do you know what I mean?
I know. I get it.
When I see it, I'm like, why did this story? Why is this the one that they chose to push out there?
Because they wanted to cover up Urban Meyer's shit.
Yeah. Well, do you know what I'm saying?
Urban Meyer paid all these people to go look for these emails because he's like, hey, listen, the heat's on me.
Get me out of here.
Quit messing with that chick. I just got to the NFL. Oh, emails?
You're right. You're right.
Oh, that's funny.
Now I know why. You're correct. I didn't even think of that angle.
That is
Oh
But
man.
honestly, it's the conspiracy theorist in me or whatever you want to say is like when I see something like that get pushed out into the forefront and then this guy's going to be made an example of and then I'm like, well, how come? Because there's probably
because it's always if that got pushed to the forefront, that's now the headlines. That means something up here was really fucked up.
yeah, and it's going
You know what I'm
unnoticed.
saying? Yes, and we gotta sacrifice you.
Yeah, man.
We'll take care of you later.
It's
But right now we gotta
that
sacrifice you.
happens. That happens with our government.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
happens in every stage of life. That happens.
Have you ever
It's
seen
called
House of
the
Cards?
smoke screen?
Yes.
Or the smoke screen.
Have you ever seen House of Cards?
Yeah.
They talk about that a lot. They sit down in there. They have meetings. Now,
Yeah.
Matt, you're a good friend of ours, but right now you're gonna have to take this hit.
Right.
Because we can't.
It's how the world works.
We can't let the mayor take the hit.
Yeah.
You
It's
have to
how the
take this
world
hit.
works, unfortunately.
And that's real.
I hate that that's the way it is, though.
Yeah.
Because in this whole, like we said, we're not going to get into a cancel culture thing. We said, this conversation doesn't even have enough time to hash out the
doesn't,
basis
yeah.
of it.
No.
But I will say this. It's all about, like, kind of tribalistic groups when it comes down to it. Because everybody's got, like, they pick a lane and they're driving in that lane.
Mm-hmm.
And a much wiser man than me once said, and I wish I could attribute this to who it says, when you look at it as a whole, we're not divided into race, religion, gender, all that stuff. We're divided into wise people and fools. And the fools divide themselves into race, religion, right?
That's a fucking bar.
So
That shit
That
just got
shit
deep.
gets deep
that is
on the BTT podcast right
something
there.
that really resonates with me, though, because
Yeah.
I don't see it like that. Yes, I do see the groups. Do you know what I mean? I see it. But I'm not against any other group. You know what I mean? Like Dave Chappelle. I don't think, when they're saying Dave Chappelle is, hate speech or whatever they're kind of trying to claim for him. And he's approached it from several different angles. I don't think Dave has hate in his heart. But there's a lot of people who take it as they're being directly attacked. Or else it wouldn't be an issue. Right?
Right.
So I'm coming from the same place of like, I don't care what you are. I don't care what group you subscribe to. I love you, man. Whatever it is. You know what I mean? Is there people that I don't like? Yeah. But you know what? There's assholes in every group of people. I don't care, whatever it is, if it's, you see these divisions, Jews versus, Muslims, or even, black versus white. There's all these opposing things. But when it comes down to it, you do you, boo. I don't care who you love. I don't care what church you go to. You know what I mean? That's, like I said, that's the divisions that I think is foolish. You know?
That's a fucking bar right there.
Yeah.
The pirate chef came in here and just dropped it.
I wish I could attribute
drop
to
the
that.
mic.
I wish I knew where that come from, but
Yeah.
I heard
but
it and it really stuck with me.
It is the truth, and we're all victims of it. Everybody in this room, pretty much. I don't. There's not too many people in this world that I can say didn't attribute to
Yeah,
falling in the
sure.
in the crabs in a barrel mentality, or
Yep.
whatever. So
Or just disliking somebody because of, obviously I think there's healthy aspects to it because you're a Ravens fan. You know what I mean? Everybody loves to have a team they root for. I think that's harmless. But when it comes down to like, you're ready to fight somebody over some shit, like you're out in the streets, like beating people up that look a certain way, like that's not healthy.
no, you're right. You're right, because when I left the Lions Stadium, Ford Field, after Justin Tucker kicked a 66-yarder to win the game, which is my second time there to watch them. The time before that.
Oh, you mean the longest field goal in
goal
NFL
ever.
history? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that was after 8 years ago, the last time the Ravens came to Detroit, and they kicked a 61-yarder.
That was just
And won
because
it.
the wind was a certain way.
Right.
Yeah, when I was walking down the street, in daytime this time, because last time was Monday night game.
Right.
This time is daytime, and nobody wanted to beat me up, and I thought, man, this is really cool. This is cool culture right here.
Yeah.
Where they just they said, hey man, we fucking suck.
Hey man,
and it's the Lions way. It's the Lions way to lose like this.
Every fan in that stadium knew that kick was going in. There wasn't a.
They did only because it happened to them before with a 61-yarder, and they all remember that 8 years.
They haven't. It happens to them every game.
Well, hold on. Just last week, the same thing happened
with Minnesota. Right?
Minnesota, and it was the same score. They were down. They were up 17-16, and a walk-off field goal beat them 19-17.
Yeah.
That's the same exact scenario that happened in the game that I was at.
What did the announcer say? Something like, "This was a very Lions-like loss," or something like that.
Absolutely.
It just looks about right, I guess. You know.
But it's still Detroit, man. They're my second team. I'm. This is my. I love everything Detroit and everything Ann Arbor, except for when it comes to football.
Yeah.
They're not my number one team. Never been.
I'm a Tampa Bay guy.
Jumper. I'm not a homie hopper.
Nope.
They just never been.
Nope.
Homie hop.
I'm a Tampa Bay dude. I have been since the days of Allstott and Warwick Dunn and
I feel
that
so
Tampa
sorry
2
for you
defense.
guys.
That Tampa 2 defense.
Yes, and I feel so sorry for you guys. Let me tell you why.
All right.
People are like, why would you feel sorry for them being Super Bowl champs? I have a homeboy. My boy Sean is a Tampa Bay fan. When they won 1 or 2 games a year, when they had their ups and downs,
he's the creamsicle out uniform days,
and he has to deal with all these people that all of a sudden, well, I'm a Tom Brady fan, so now I'm a big Tampa Bay fan.
Yeah,
I'm a Gronk fan, so now, and he's like, come on, bandwagon jumper. It's like, fuck you. I've been doing this. I've been crying for 10 years just to get to this moment, and you just homie hop.
Right.
Tom Brady came, so now I'm a Tampa Bay
bandwagon
Buccaneer.
fans. I don't hate it though, because I'm not that much of a diehard.
I do.
I could see it if you. Well, you hate the fact that a bunch of people just can claim that they like Tom Brady and they used to ride the Patriots nuts.
Oh, Lamar Jackson came, and now there's a bunch of Baltimore Ravens fans.
Right. True.
You
don't even need them.
There's a bunch of Lakers fans now too. Well, they're not Lakers fans.
Oh,
they're
that's Lakers Nation. Period.
LeBron fans.
Right. And this is where this is where Tyner. This is where things turn.
Yeah.
And now it's not. It wasn't J&J against Pac.
Right.
Now it's no matter who's in the room with me, it's everybody against Michael when he brings up his sports teams.
Oh, okay.
Because he's a Cowboy and he's a Laker.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
How long have I been a fan of both though?
Forever.
But this is the thing.
Like he was even a fan of the Lakers when the Pistons beat him in the finals.
When it comes to sports, this is why it's cool because, like, your affiliations with that, when we were kids, we got to watch our Lions games because that was local. But the only games that the United States of America got were, like, Cowboys, San Fran. Same goes with basketball, You got to watch the Lakers because there wasn't 19 channels with every single game going on and stuff. At the same time, you only saw when it was another team besides your own. It was like, so I get that. I get the Cowboys because you're like, I watch the Cowboys all the time when you're a kid. And by the way, they won a ton. Back then, it was easy to like.
Dallas 2024.
Yeah,
that's a great prediction.
2024.
All right. Yeah, I mean they got some good young talent.
But then you're going to be battling with the Lions in 2024 because the Lions are going to the Super Bowl in 2024.
I'll put money.
So you guys are going to have to lose an NFC championship. That's what Lions fans are telling me. They're like, in 3 years,
bro,
they're going to be the dopest team.
You've been drinking that blue shit right here, haven't you?
I'm telling you what people have been telling me.
I know. That's what they're drinking.
That's what they're drinking. The blue Kool-Aid.
They drink like the 64-ounce big gulp of that shit. They just walk around with it. They got those blue construction helmets with 2 cups of it on each side drinking it. That's what Lions fans do.
They take the 8 Mile vodka and they just put Honolulu blue food coloring in it. Oh, so, speaking of which, so they put the blue food coloring in it and they just drink it straight. But here's a real thing. So I know a guy named, I won't say his real name, but he's Lion Eyes. He's like an ultimate fan. He's part of the national fan club, some shit.
It's tough being him, but go on.
And he's been, to the draft. All like they go to different stadiums and stuff. So I went to his tailgate, and they have a thing called the hot tubbers, like tailgaters, and they bring a hot tub to every tailgate, and they put food coloring in it. It's Honolulu blue water in a hot tub. I thought that was pretty dope. I'm like, man, that's pretty dope.
But if you get in, do you come out blue?
I've never seen a person in there.
Okay.
Well, I should say never because I don't go to the games unless Baltimore's coming. But that day, no, it was. I think it might have been a little bit chilly.
Yeah.
For that, but
Good stuff.
That sounds like some Detroit shit.
It's really some Detroit. It's right downtown, right off of.
I don't know.
Right over by
You have a
Bookies.
real hot tub, or did they have like one?
No,
of
it
those?
was a real hot tub. It was
Yeah.
with a trailer, on a trailer, and it was pulled by a big F-350
That's wild.
or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds like some Detroit shit.
Some real Detroit shit. Real quick, man. We have to give. And it doesn't have to be real quick. I don't know why I said that, but Science Scott couldn't be here
And Science Scott couldn't be here today with me,
because.
but he's ready. So if you want to have him on, after this one, he's down.
Well, I'll let you explain the events that happened up
Yeah.
till now of why he's not here.
Leading up to this,
Talk about some conspiracy.
him and I just did a podcast. Our last episode
I think Tyler set him up.
happened to be about like, I won't call it like homeopathic medicine, but I'll just say like home remedies type of stuff. We've been joking about my tricky back. Like I said, I'm going to start eating and try to get rid of the inflammation and all that stuff. And I was just like, let's do this episode and talk about injuries and, ways to fix yourself. Because I'm like, there's all sorts of stuff that doesn't involve going to a doctor and getting prescribed something. Like, I've been doing stuff like that forever. Just finding little things that work, right?
Yeah, y'all put me on Lysine.
Oh,
It's like I've heard about it. I'm a nurse.
It's the best.
So I've heard about it for years, but I'm
Dude,
like, I've
it's
never
like wearing a
really
bulletproof
heard of
vest, bro.
somebody really taking it. And I'm
Yep.
like,
It's
I
like
just had to
having,
throw that out.
having
Go
a
ahead.
bulletproof vest
Right.
on. I don't know. And maybe that's just me. Like I said, a lot of it might be just placebo effect. I don't even care.
I'm gonna try it.
If it works, it works, right?
Try it.
So, yeah, we recorded that. And, we record on Wednesdays. And just, the following week, I'm in the middle of show prep. I'm 2 pages deep in my notebook. I've been writing so much my wrist is hurting like I was back in school. And Scott calls me up. He's like, "Hey, bro, we're not podcasting today." Or maybe he texted me, whatever. and I was like, "Why? What's up?" He's like, "Man, I just got sick for like the first time in like 5 or 6 years." And I was like, "Ain't that a bitch?" Right after we just talked about all the ways to get yourself better, you come down with,
Some
I don't
bullshit.
know. It's
Some
probably
bullshit.
just the sniffles or something, but he's like, I don't think.
Nah,
I'm-
something is definitely going around Rome. Doesn't feel well. He's
Yeah.
got a couple people in his house that don't feel well. A friend of mine, Jay from JC Quality Construction, he's down a little bit. His wife is down. So it's something that's kind of running
Yeah.
through. And actually, what's crazy is
It's
my
that
nurse-
time of year.
Well, and my nurse practitioner told me that they've had all these increased cases because everybody's been wearing masks. So now people
Yeah.
are taking off these masks, and they're now getting these other viruses and what have you. So,
Sure.
which is
Yeah.
crazy in itself.
Well, that's why I said it's like, yo, we're it's change of the seasons, man. It
but
happened.
you spoke it into existence.
No, they was definitely listening to your phone when you guys.
I think so.
You got to start shutting off.
I think they found out where that RSS feed was originated from, and they sprayed something in his vents. If you want to get conspiratorial
Yeah.
with it, took my boy out.
Yeah, as soon as he said that, that's the first thing I thought was, bro. What do you mean? What do you mean he's sick? He ain't been sick in 7 years.
Yeah,
Right.
They tapped the
Something
pod.
happened,
They
man.
tapped the pod. Anything that has a mic
yeah.
or a camera.
I know.
Do you guys use webcam covers? Like when you're not using.
I've always had the piece of tape over my webcam, like on a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
I have, yeah.
I throw hats over mine. I don't know.
Well,
I'm not like a big
what's
like
the
mean
oh
main?
at
they're
all.
always tapping in and blah blah blah. But I'm just kind of like I don't know. And
I have
got- I
two
have
lines
kids,
of thought
you know
on
what I
it.
mean?
I got 2 lines of thought on it. One, what the fuck do I care if you're looking at me doing whatever goofy ass shit I'm doing?
That's how I
But
feel.
2, also, my other line of thinking is there's that meme that shows like all 3 of the big, like Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, and somebody else. They show pictures of them where it's zoomed in on their computer in the background with the tape over the thing. It's like, if these motherfuckers are doing it, then I probably should be doing it. Like they're the ones that know,
Never thought about
and they got their shit covered up. Maybe I should have mine covered up.
That's kind of how I
So
look
that's
at
the
it
2
too.
lines of thinking I got. What do I give a shit? Number 1, but yeah, probably should put that on there.
Yeah,
Keep
but
some
like
sort of privacy.
I'm a nut when it comes to like home safety and shit, man. Like I got cameras and shit. Not because I don't live in a bad neighborhood at all.
Yeah.
So that's not it. It's just that the
Makes you feel good.
internets is what I'm scared of. So
Sure.
yes, I have cameras and stuff. Yes, you know what I mean. But at the same time, like I disconnect a bunch of shit throughout the day because the internets.
See, he wears more of a tinfoil hat than I do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't.
Even though I've worn one through a couple episodes.
When you got little babies, man, like
No,
things
I
just
know.
totally change, and you're like,
Amen.
just because you see stories, you know what I mean?
You're protecting your
there's-
kids.
You remember earlier he talked about his OCD tendencies.
There it is. Coming out again.
Yeah, that might be. Shit.
I just get two. I got my two dogs, and I hope that they're gonna do their job, or at least that they're scare somebody off, whatever.
Tyner has always had pit bulls, man, and they're like the fucking sweetest fucking dogs.
Well, I got one right now that's not the sweetest, but the other one is the sweetest. So, Pork Chop, the podcast mascot.
Yes,
because he made an appearance. Very early goings is the day that I had adopted him, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't want to leave him home, so my wife would like meet him basically by herself. Because I just busted the dude out of the clink, let's be fair. So prison dog. So I brought him to the podcast with me so I could bring him home and then introduce him to his new family, basically. And yeah, so the boys were just like, how long have you had this dude? And I'm like literally 4 hours. If that.
He might nut up and wreck shop in his whole studio.
I just hope he keeps acting like this. And he has the whole time we've had him.
As soon as that doggy Ativan wears off, we're in trouble.
right.
Yeah, I don't know what they gave him over there, but something to calm him down. But no, he's always been just chill. He's had that same demeanor since the day we got him. So
do you give your dog drugs? Like, I don't know. You're not
like
a pet person, Mike,
glucosamine and chondroitin type of stuff to keep their joints loose.
No, I mean like if they have anxiety or like 4th of July every year, like my dog goes nuts. You know what I mean? And I've always held back. I don't want to give him anything, but
like Benadryl.
Yeah, but he's just he had a like an anxiety problem. We think it had something to do with the babies.
Okay.
Where he just kept licking his paws, so we thought it was like allergies
right.
or something. Anxiety. We didn't know exactly what, so we did give him some Benadryl because the vet told us to. Anyway, it was the first time
too,
like
right?
I gave him stuff, and I'm like, man, I don't like this. But like with all the new shit, what are you?
I think you just give
What are
him.
you fucking laughing about?
I think
man?
you just give
Because
him.
I'm just like you're concerned about giving your dog like medicine, but we give our kids whatever Benadryl and whatever.
Bro, it's a dog, bro.
I think you just
Fucking
need
dog.
to
We don't deserve him, bro.
give him some wide range like
All right?
CBD.
You don't understand. We don't deserve these dogs, man.
Yeah, I saw that meme. We don't. I tear up when I look at it.
Cheers.
I'm not gonna lie. I think that sometimes too, though.
In the arms of
But this
an
is coming
angel.
from a guy who could give a damn
Yeah.
about like
Yep.
I don't do no animals. I love other people's pets.
Keep
But
them away.
that's about it. Yeah, you can't.
So you don't feel away when Sarah McLachlan's just on the TV, just.
I got to turn the channel, bro, or I'll go pick up every single one of those dogs at the pound.
Hey, is it fucked up? Now here's where we lose listeners. Is it fucked up? Is it fucked up? They're like, when people are starving. Like I don't even bat my eye. But then a dog is like shaking in a kennel, and I'm like, somebody has to go get him.
Yeah.
Does that make me fucked up? I don't know.
I don't know.
RO. I can hear you, bro. Yeah. Okay. Rome said, "Man, fuck them dogs."
It's funny because like growing up, like my dad was have a dog, or we're gonna have a dog. I want to have a dog. We just chain them up outside, like the outside dog.
And that's probably why I don't like animals.
Right.
And I'm more my dog's not no outside dog. My dog's like a cat that doesn't go outside, like an indoor cat,
Right.
Like because they're self-sufficient. You know what I mean? That's how my dog is.
7 years old, Susan. Of course, I had a parakeet dog. I had 2 dogs. All my animals were named Susan because I love the black woman on Sesame Street. But anyway,
So, straight up Susan.
yeah, everything
All right.
was Susan.
Deep.
Yeah. So 7, 8 years old, got hit by a car. After that, I fucked them dogs.
No more.
And
Yeah.
my dad would bring home.
So you
dogs
can't take
all
that
the
kind of
time.
heartbreak.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
You know what? That's what somebody told me this one day when we got our dog and was like, you know what a dog is, man? Like it's a tragedy waiting to happen. And I'm like, I get it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, everything is though.
It's
Can't
worth
look at it like that.
Yeah,
You know?
Yeah.
I had a parakeet. I did too. I had a bird, and I got my bird when I was in kindergarten because my parents wouldn't let me have a dog. And I named that motherfucker Rufus because I was like, I'm gonna name this thing the most dog name you could possibly name something.
Rufus.
So my parakeet Rufus, And that thing was like the goldfish that you win at the carnival that lives forever. That was what this bird was, man. I had a parakeet.
Where do they get them fucking fish from, bro?
don't
He's
know.
been in the hot sun. It's 100 degrees at the fair.
Water's boiling and
water's
shit.
boiling.
And
He's still alive.
just doing curls and shit? Like
right.
what?
But if you go to the fucking actual pet store,
Dead in a day.
boom, and you're like, I just
Dead
bought
in a
this
day.
$400 fish.
Exactly.
And he's done.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the goldfish is just swimming around him like, what's happening to this guy?
Goldfish, man. The first time, when Poodle, or no, it was his dad,
Uncle Punk.
Uncle Punk, when they built that pond, and the fish would freeze.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that shit was
remember
the
you-
wildest shit.
I
to me.
remember you bugging out about
That was the wildest shit to me. Wait a minute.
Like the
Walt
koi fish
Disney's
pond?
trying to get thawed out right now. I don't know if you guys know that, but they're trying to
Oh, great.
thaw him out right now. You know what I mean? But these fish are just like, we got the remedy. Like, we freeze, we come back alive.
So you're talking about like a little koi pond with the goldfish in it and shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
they freeze.
Yeah. Well, you know what goldfish are, right? They're carp. They're a
So
hardy
do carp
fish.
freeze and come back to life?
I don't know. There's frogs that do it. I know that for sure.
I mean, am I bugging? They do that, right? That was the same fish.
They might.
Yeah.
They may.
I
Or
wish
maybe they're
Who's your guy, Cody? Look that up, Cody.
Yeah.
We need a Cody.
We need a
Yeah.
Cody.
Somebody's got to look that up.
young Jamesy's been
Because
looking
I
stuff
remember
up
my
for
uncle
us.
telling me
I'll be Cody.
that the fish.
I'll be
Well,
Cody.
maybe
the
they're.
fish the fish freeze over the winter.
So it's
and
like frozen solid.
Yeah, the pond freezes in the winter.
There's no like bubbler in it to keep the bottom layer like liquid.
Maybe that's it. You know how people tell you something when you're a kid and
Oh, that
they're just
stays.
fucking with you, but then it sticks
That
with you
stays
forever?
with you. You go stand
Maybe
on
that's
that
the
rock
thing.
for all this time. People are thinking you're crazy.
Exactly, and that might be it.
I've had that happen a few times. I'm not gonna lie. When I found out something after a long time, I'm like, I've thought this since I was a kid.
Okay.
Just turned out to be different.
What we got?
They
What do
stay
we got,
alive?
Cody?
Can fish freeze and stay alive? The surprising answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Sometimes.
I bet it's them fucking fair goldfish. If there's
what they
anybody that
said.
stays alive,
60% of the time, all the time.
all the time, right?
That's it. That's what that one is.
Somebody
Moreover,
was just
some fish contain a kind of antifreeze substance that allows them to survive in very cold conditions.
All right.
So certain fish, yes.
Well, I mean, you know how cold it gets underwater. You gotta get those ones down at the depths of the Marianas Trench, down where we get deep, with that Jacques Cousteau level.
yes, that was a dope ass. Somebody was just explaining or just saying that they had a DMT. Is that what it's called? DMT.
Mm-hmm. Dimethyltryptamine.
Yeah, and their reality, they were a fish swimming through
Yeah,
reality.
that's wild.
And
So they were like breathing underwater and shit.
they were breathing anytime love or positivity happens, that's their air.
Oh,
They're swimming through this world. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh well, every time we see something that makes us feel joy, love, or we see something positive happening, we get to breathe. And then we go through and we see tragedy. We got to hold our breath until we.
That's wild, dude.
I was like, man, I've been for years, man. I've been wanting to microdose,
Or try something.
but my mind is the way my mind works. A lot of my friends that's done this stuff, they said that whatever mood or whatever space you're in,
Yes.
it's going to increase by like 100. And I'm a control freak. So
No way.
yeah, I don't know if this might be a
It's the
surprise.
third
to you,
mention
Mike.
of that OCD thing, Big Mike.
Yeah, you never. Yeah, and I'm afraid that I'm gonna lose myself because
I
I'm
think
not
I think that's the best part of it.
right.
because-
But I might freak out because I have zero control.
But listen, man.
And have the freak out or no? I don't know. I've never done it.
But here's the deal. And I've never done DMT either, but I've had other experiences in the same realm, in that same area. And what I can say is this. You're right. And that you ever heard, like when we were kids, people would say, I had a bad trip. You know? Heard it a million times. I'm a firm believer that bad trip was they had something that they were dealing with. Maybe it was stuck away in the back of their mind. And what that substance or mind space that you get in, it like shines a spotlight on it. And it's like, you ain't going nowhere.
Is that why people cry? I hear
Until
people like sometimes
maybe.
people trip and they'll cry the whole trip.
But that's the thing. It's like
Yeah,
you work some shit out with yourself or whatever the mechanism is. I don't care why something works, but I think when those people having, a bad experience, I think because whatever they're experiencing is something is like, look, we're not going anywhere until we handle this, because your life is not going to get any better or whatever. I think that's your almost like your own psyche that is
that's
yeah, you're actually doing some work, you know. Yeah, was it painful? Absolutely. You know, but I've had experiences where like I'm not here to have fun. I'm here to work on some shit.
That's why a lot of people that do it say they do it, and they do it with, they don't just say, hey man, we're gonna go grab some shrooms, take shrooms tonight. It's, they do it properly, they try to do it safely.
Sure.
And a lot of times they have like, I don't know what they call them, but they're basically doctors of psychedelics.
Sure, like
do
a
it for
shaman.
'em. Yeah,
Of some sort.
do
There's some really new age shit though, hippy dippy stuff that's kind of out there.
A lot of people
But
have a cook for them.
there's-
Somebody that has perfected how to cook the tea.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But there's like John Hopkins University has done studies on, I think, MDMA and psychedelic mushrooms and all that stuff, and they're like having some relatively great success with like soldiers with PTSD, or the big one that I've heard about that really blows my mind is like cancer patients and stuff like that. Like they will do this therapy with like terminal people who just know they don't got a chance, and they're like at peace. Like they're like, you know what, I don't fear death no more. Like,
Yeah, that's
so there's like all this anxiety that you can work out, I think.
From what I hear is you find yourself, right? That's why people do it. Is they want to spiritually, whatever, they find themselves, right?
Sure.
Neil Brennan just said this in the Breakfast Club not too long ago. He said that he had he is now religious because of it. He's not saying he picked a religion, but the higher being, the religion, right? And he's the one that also said, like, Chris Rock cried for like 7 hours straight.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I hear people talk about this, and then this is why I want to bring this up with you,
Okay.
is because you guys get deep, and I know you guys have talked about this before, but you always say that you talk about reality as subjective. But you guys also have talked about what I believe is with us only being able to control or access a certain fraction of our brain. We don't know yet what reality really is until we know what reality is.
That's right.
So you don't know that a plane can fly until one day somebody invented a plane. But it's crazy to think that could ever happen, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy to think, right? So all these different things, it's crazy to think that until they happen. You know what I mean? And maybe, and I'm just thinking in theory, right? Maybe you take the DMT, or you have a trip. You know what I mean? You go down the trip. And that's actually reality.
Like you're accessing different
You're
parts of
accessing
it.
different parts. So that's reality. We only see things one way because that's all our brain has allowed us to see yet, because we're not ready to see something else. You know what I mean? Like I refuse to believe that a caveman's brain worked the same way my brain works right now. It's evolved.
Yeah.
It has to.
Well, when it comes down to it, reality is you are experiencing this through millions of like chemical reactions that are taking part in your brain that tells you how light is entering in your eyes and bouncing off. That's one of them. And it basically, like, that's all like basic science shit where we've always been told like how, you know, reality works. But there's definitely outside of, we know like there's a certain sliver of reality that we see. There's all this stuff outside of it, because I can't see an infrared. You know, I can't see that part of the light spectrum. So maybe if I could right now, I would see that there's a bunch more shit around us. There's waves all around us, right? We know that. There's FM radio waves and all these waves that are surrounding us. We can't see any of them, but we know they're there, right? But the thing that trips me out the most about all of it is everything we do see, right? And this is where I get hung up on like what is really going on. Everything that we see, aside from like nature, stuff that is like a part of the landscape, came from someone's imagination, came from up here in our head.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
This table,
that's my whole point.
This
about
table, the house,
the caveman,
a road.
The caveman theory of they only accessed, let's just say percentages, right? Say they only could access 10% of their brain. I don't know what we can access right now, but we'll say that we can access a third of our brain, 30%, 33%.
Yeah.
Let's just say.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so a caveman might have only accessed 10%. And it took them to do certain things or learn certain things. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
and build it up. And it's like it evolved. You know what I mean? We're not even,
We're not
what
there.
science says
We're not there yet.
We're not even halfway there yet.
We're constantly evolving.
But our reality, because it's like you say, it's subjective. So a caveman's reality is that this is this is that, and then hundreds and thousands of years later, our reality is something totally different because we can actually we know more or we can see.
Well,
more,
think about it like this.
There's certain things like that has defied physics.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And we're still coming up with certain ways to defy physics and defy reality, period.
Right.
Whatever you think reality is.
So if you think about it in like from coming from a sports aspect, how many times have you seen somebody who, you know, they were pretty good or whatever, and then they go to a camp or something, or say like a fighter, you know, kid was pretty good at fighting or, you know, whatever. And then he goes and he works with like a world champion. Seeing something for yourself live, or when those kids like maybe were good at basketball, but then went to a basketball camp and they got to play with a college team. It seems like when these people come back from that experience, it's like they've leveled up like 3 or 4 times, because all of a sudden they saw something that they didn't even know was possible, but they witnessed somebody do it. You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
But now they're like, that's out there, right? So now that isn't some pie in the sky thing that's not real. That's something that, and all of a sudden, boom, they jump way ahead of everybody else in development, because it was almost like something got unlocked by seeing something happen that they didn't know was even available. You know what I mean? So I think life is very much like that, because I ain't never seen a person just fly. You know what I mean? I haven't seen, or levitate or whatever, but I've heard, like they say that there's like, you know, or maybe not Buddhist, Hindu, you know, whatever, swamis that can like Buddhist levitate while they're doing whatever. Yeah. I've heard about that. I've never seen it in person, but maybe if I saw it in person, it would kind of unlock some sort of, you know, unachievable thing for me, because I'm like, man, look at all this stuff. I didn't even realize this was out there.
It's a metaphor and an analogy for life, right? So if you take somebody that's never seen success or never been able to make it out of the project building that they grew up in, right? They've never been, and somebody brings them along and takes them somewhere else, and they start open their eyes to different things and how the world works, and you know what I mean? Just whatever. Like, we won't get into it, but you get what I'm saying.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you sit in a circle full of different people, you're going to start thinking different, right?
Yeah.
But that's the same way I think about our brain too.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, that's why I think that Elon Musk is on to something. I really
could be an alien, bro.
He could be. He
maybe
could be. And I'm
maybe
fine
the
with
alien
that.
already came down. Now we're just waiting on Tupac.
I'm fine with that, but
He could be an alien.
Right?
man, he definitely could be an alien. But I think where people get him wrong, and that's totally threw me out there, but I think where people get him wrong, I watched him on Joe Rogan. I think it was their second time he was on there. I never seen him the first time on there. When he's talking, you can tell like there is so much going on up there
behind his eyes.
But he doesn't know how to get it from here to here.
Correct.
Which is like 90% of the world's problems is from here to here as far as communication. 90% of the communication problems, because I always think of DJ from Hustle and Flow. I just got these noises in my head. You know what I mean? Mine.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. It's the fucking truth.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I
like that meme that says like what I thought, and then it says what I said, and like all the string is up, like it looks like tangled, and then there's just this little tiny thing that comes out. It's like
that's what I thought about him.
Lost in translation, they say, right?
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. He's trying to develop too. Is that's the AI part of it? Is that we would be able to communicate so
seamlessly,
much, seamlessly, because he was saying like 90-something% of the information that we're trying to give to each other, we can't put it in words, or and it takes too long and everything like that.
Right.
So like you can have what would be an hour conversation in a second if they can just get what you're thinking and I get what you're thinking, boom.
Plus you take like, if you could like understand intentions and stuff as well, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That would cut that out of there, where right now we're stuck in especially like through text and stuff.
Oh,
it's so
just
different.
Had this conversation. Sorry.
Yeah, it hits a nerve, right?
It
hits a nerve
conversation.
Because intention is so much. Do you know what I mean? Because I could say something as a joke, but if you didn't have the context around it, all of a sudden I'm canceled.
I hate
right.
text. We just had this conversation, man. We're in this big text thread for the comedy show that we got coming up.
Yep.
And also with me and my girl, we go back and forth. My girl, I hate texting. I'd rather call you, get the information out. Boom, I'm a talker anyway. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go.
Sure.
When she sometimes, like, for one, I don't like when people just say okay or something like that, because I feel like you're being short with me. But also, if I was there, I would see that she's at work and she works works with COVID patients in the ICU. Like, she's busy, but I'm not. We were just texting. I didn't know that something might have just happened, so it's just a quick okay. So you take things out of context, or you can just say anything, and you can out of text you can take it 5 different ways, right?
Yep. It's
and
a problem.
So we have like a thing now where just so like if we're essentially being short with you, there's nothing that you have to say. But if you're not, then you put like a hun or a babe or something behind it, okay, just to let the other person into the phone know that you're not being purposely short.
Yeah. It's wild that we've made it to this point, right?
I know, but
isn't it wild?
But that's the whole thing of community. If you don't, everything is. That's why I love being face to face.
Every time I text you, I'm gonna end that shit with babe.
Please
From
do.
here on out.
Yeah. I love it. Let's start a trend. Let's start a trend, people. Everybody, let's do this.
If we're face to face, you get my body language. You can kind of read my emotion a little bit better. You know what I mean? That's why I love face to face, or I love at least phone. I do not like doing any type of business or have any like real meaningful conversations on a fucking text. I don't know how people can do that.
And
it's
dangerous. I almost did it this morning. I got a text, read the text. It's a pretty serious text. And I'm like, let me go ahead and text. And I'm like, no, this is way more. This needs something way more than a text.
See, that's a wise move.
I'm like, I kind of just put the phone down.
It's a wise move.
Then I'm like, I'm going to call. And I was like, nope. And I'm like, this has to be a face-to-face.
Got to see them.
This has to be a face-to-face.
Yeah. And well, if you want to get get all deep on it, whatever, there's also an electromagnetic field that each one of us is giving out right now.
Yes.
And like I said, it's waves, whatever. We can't see it. I don't know if it's waves, but I've been told that, there's like a certain amount of area, and like we're basically we're feeling each other. I can feel you. I can look at you, and there's all these cues that you never are going to get looking at a screen with words on it.
No.
And if like
I was just telling
telling
T that that it's like I'm doing that now. Like I'm trying to develop that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and I'm trying to work on like I told you, like energy and vibes and like different stuff. And it's like I haven't perfected it by no means.
But I don't think I ever will. I know that for sure.
I'm probably about 1%.
But it's but that's the thing is if everybody kind of like tried to kind of develop that a little bit, I think we'd be a lot better off. I think we'd be a lot better off because I think the whole through text is like de-evolution. You know what I mean?
It is. Yeah.
And what's wild is I love the theory that like aliens or the aliens that we like picture when people always draw the big head with the black eyes. I love the theory that that's us from the future. Have you ever heard this theory?
Yes, I have, and I'm very intrigued by it because the different dimensions.
It really makes sense to me.
It makes so much sense.
Right? So we don't got to talk no more because we basically, everybody got Elon's neural link, right? Yeah. So we can telepathically speak. So they got little tiny mouths. They don't need it, right? They got the big, huge brain because everything is done, so they got that big old, egg head. They don't need feats of physical strength anymore. They could probably like move shit with their mind, maybe even. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So they're spindly, whatever. But it's still a humanoid form. So why couldn't that be us from the future just coming back to visit us every once in a while, plucking one of us out, sucking us up into their craft by our chest.
And I have
like fire in the sky.
I have different type of aliens because for different types of theories.
Okay.
So I have that alien for just what you're saying, evolution, like they've evolved into.
Sure.
They don't need. Why do you need muscles? They don't have to physically do anything. Why do you need right? But then a different theory is when I think about the aliens are us in the future. I think of there's a show on Netflix where they're trying to go to some different world or whatever. They come across this alien, right? Basically, they come across this alien, alien race, but they have their their face is like digitized, right?
So it's like a biomech suit.
Yeah, so that's their face. So that's how you read their emotion. You know what I mean? They teach them how to speak English so they can communicate with them,
Right.
but that's their emotion. Everything's from this, and that would make sense because that's where we're at. Like we're so going in right into tech.
Yeah.
But then the other one is, do the aliens save us before we destroy ourselves and we go back to an apocalyptic where we're back to cavemen?
Yeah. The reset.
The reset. I like to have my. I like you know how like I forget, it's like Will Ferrell and that other dude. They're like, I like to think of my such and such like this. Like that's how I am. I'd like to think of my aliens in this scenario like this, but my aliens in this scenario.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, you want to customize them.
I want to customize my aliens, man.
I'm in. I like this. But yeah, that's like, it's just one cool little thought experiment to have, but like it kind of would explain it away a little bit if that's where we're headed. You know what I mean? If that's the road that we're kind of evolving down, like we said, if we're still, say we've made it this far from cavemen and what they did, why couldn't that be us in the, the distant future?
Okay, boom. You take Matthew McConaughey's movie with a different dimension.
Yep.
Name of it, do you know?
Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
You take, boom, I like that. You take Interstellar.
I'm a fan.
Me too. I don't know the name of the movie, but I've watched it probably 3 or 4 times because like the end of it, especially the cubes, I'll watch that over and over because to me, I'm mind blown by it because it's like, man, this could be, we're onto something. Okay,
Yeah.
so you take Interstellar, right? And then you take kind of our theory, what we're talking about with our future selves.
From the future self.
So that dimension shit, they're only talking about years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, multiply that by 1,000.
Exactly, right?
How far down the road do you get?
Exactly. So you take that, and then you mix it with a little bit of what's the name of the movie? Mars?
The Martian?
No, Mars with
I'm not a good movie guy. I don't see many of them.
It's too early in the morning.
I've seen Dazed and Confused though.
Who's in it?
I have seen that one.
All right.
That's right.
Yeah, but if you take like a bunch of those and you made one mashup movie,
Mm-hmm.
they all somehow connect with each other. Like all these alien movies,
Yeah, right.
they all connect with each other somehow, some way. Not all of them, but I'm saying like the good ones. To me, the good ones.
Yeah.
The ones that it's not just like, oh, the aliens come and they attack, blah blah. No, the people that try to make sense out of the alien movie, like Interstellar,
Right.
which isn't. It's not even alien. That's more. That could be paranormal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's in the same realm of
Sure.
if aliens were, you know what I mean, just us in the future, or the angels and demons type thing,
Right.
Or,
Well, dude, I mean, I think it's all just a certain way of looking at it too. You know what I mean? As wild as shit has got, current day, I look around like, well, fucking anything's possible, man.
anything.
I'm ready for the sky to open up and all of a sudden there's, UFOs zipping around. It wouldn't shock me one goddamn bit.
Here's the other movie I was thinking about too is Book of Eli and Mad Max. That
Yeah,
is
right.
the difference of what are we going to be? Are we going to be Interstellar and that type of theory,
Right.
or are we going to end up being the Book of Eli and Mad Max, where it's
Yeah.
apocalyptic?
You got straight up Thunderdome.
To that, knowing what's going on, knowing what the bigger picture
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
we have to like that bigger picture or that higher being says, "Hey, let me smack that ass real quick, let you know something. Let me take off my belt,
Well,
give you a piece of humble pie. Now you're in an apocalyptic stage.
It's gonna be more like Waterworld.
yeah.
We already had a flood.
We're gonna have another one.
We're gonna have dry this time."
You think?
I better start like modding my dune buggy up, putting some like saws on it and shit.
Well, you've said this before, and you brought this to my attention that every religion or every history book, it doesn't have to be religion, every culture
Yeah.
has had a flood.
Yeah.
So you have to start thinking, hey, if everybody has it, it's got to be something, right?
Yeah, maybe.
And then everybody has this
It's like a through line amongst all
fire,
the stories.
this fire or this apocalyptic thing where it's dry, where there is no water, is the next reset, right?
Yeah.
That's the prediction, right? Well, when we have climate change going on right now. They're talking about it's a possibility in 20 years where I used to live in Arizona, you might not be able to live anymore. It might be unbearable.
People just take for granted that they're going to be able to live where they live forever.
New Orleans, they talked about in 50 years.
Just because it's been going good for about 100 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it's something that I've always found pretty wild is that it's like you look at it from our perspective of just like right now. Do you know what I mean? This is how it is. This is how it always has been. But it's not. And there's lots of evidence out there that this thing probably has been restarted a few times. Do you know what I mean? One of my favorite quotes about it, and this is kind of what I think, man, because history's so like muddy to me that like what Graham Hancock, who wrote Fingerprints of the Gods and all these like books, and he went to the pyramids and the Nazca lines and all these places. And he said it best. We are a civilization with amnesia. We have no fucking clue what we really came from. You're right. There are all these stories that have all these through lines of floods or a virgin birth or all this stuff. Nobody really knows. Do you know what I mean? We really are still grabbing at straws trying to figure out where we came from or what this all is. And as far as I'm concerned, unless it's more than, a few hundred years back, man, you could tell me anything. You know what I mean? I'm just going on what I've heard up until this point. But then if you come to me and show me something like, Göbekli Tepe, which is, they say, probably 13,000 years old or something. And there's, carvings of animals that aren't from Turkey. They're from like the jungle in South America and stuff. And it's in this buried megalithic structure that shouldn't be where it is, that shouldn't have the kind of craftsmanship it has for the date that it is. It doesn't match up with shit that we've been told. Yep. So we just don't know.
It seems like every decade, and I'm a huge documentary guy.
Yeah.
I'll get into I was telling Michael that I want to do a show about just straight up about Greek mythology, Greek, like everything Greece, right? So, but with me watching all this different stuff, it seems like every decade they find a language or something that was recorded further back than what they thought was recorded.
That contradicts everything that we know.
Right, exactly. So every time they go, yep, it started, the first language or the first recording of anything happening started here. And then 10 years later they go, since then we found that this and then this. You know what I mean?
Well, not to mention why...
But hold on. What I do really, really enjoy is watching all this is that there's something that connects every one of them, man. And it's like, how can you... like, seriously, I don't want to get back into aliens and shit, but there's some type of something from the sky and from the water because... every fucking scribe, no matter what geographically, what place or what time frame, has the same
some
type
anomaly
of shit.
With like, why did they have a picture of a spaceman carved into this rock? Stuff like that. But the real deal is, I mean, we've all played the game of telephone. You mean to tell me that I can't get happy birthday around a group of 28 people that by the time it gets to the other side of the room, it's completely something else? You mean to tell me that over 3,000 some years, we've gotten the story correct?
No, I don't think we have it all.
Yeah, it has to be so
But I think
convoluted.
there's pieces.
Yeah, just little
crumbs that you can't deny.
You're right.
That's the same thing. No matter how many times the telephone game happened, this thing's always in the story. So something must be something. You know what I mean? Let's stick to that then, because the filler is, you know what I mean? Like, you know how telephone game is in our generation, or not our generation, but what we're going through now is the telephone game usually ends up being fucked up because I got to make myself look good in this story. You know what I mean? You got to make yourself look good.
Add your little bit to the soup.
Well, that's just like religion and stuff like that. They had to fix it a little bit. So, hey, we gotta kind of clean this part up because we kind of fucked up here. So let's leave this out.
Let's not mention that.
Make ourselves. But the
core
of it is kind of the same. And there's certain things that keep occurring in this story that can't be denied. We can't. It's part of the core, like you said. That's
I know. I agree. For me, there's just like so many things that they're coincidences, but it's like, are they really? Are they really? Are they? Like
coincidence?
I think not.
The older I get, the least I believe in coincidence.
Right.
I used to chalk a lot of shit up to coincidence, but then you're just blinding yourself.
Yeah. Well, perception.
Boom.
Depending on what angle you're looking at it from, because you can definitely see when you stand on the other side of the street, you go, oh, I've been seeing this the whole time. I never looked at it from this way, you know?
Yep.
I like to try to keep as many different angles. Maybe that's why I have such a weird way of thinking. But, like, I like to see all the different angles. Like,
I think that's healthy.
Well, it's healthy, but it also kind of is like a, dog chasing his own tail. Because I'd love to be one of those people who can just pick a lane and be happy and drive down it. Yeah, I just can't. I'm swerving all over. Like, I want to drive over there for a little bit.
Yeah, but if you just stay there, though, you'll end up being the people, like, let's just, to modern life right now.
Sure.
People only believe something because they're in this lane or they're in this group.
There's a lot of that going on.
They refuse to learn anything because that's the only thing that they're in that group. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather be the dude that's chasing his tail and trying to figure it out for myself than to be in a cult.
True. Yeah. Man, call people are happy though, man. You see the smile on their face.
I know, man. I think when one of the episodes I was on with you, I was thinking, man, at some point, like I almost wish that I didn't know anything, because that would just then just live my life and not knowing nothing, not looking beyond what you take for face value.
There's a struggle to it. There's definitely a struggle to it. I think it was Bukowski who said that, something about like, the smarter you are, the less happy you become, because you start to see things for what they are.
Absolutely.
Kind of like the veil is taken off where.
And you know what? And I've heard it, but not from him, from a different. And it kind of goes the same thing. This great philosopher, Biggie Smalls, said, "The more money, the more problems."
Yeah.
Thank you. Is the same thing.
Same thing.
More money, more problems.
Yeah.
It's just more shit the more shit you got to deal with.
I agree.
That's true.
Tyner, we got deep, man.
Yes, sir.
It was unintentionally. It was bound to happen.
Unintentionally. I thought we were keeping it light today.
You know what? We did. I have notes, and we covered them without having to even me to really look down. But
talk about it.
Listen, when you come on here, or when we were thinking about having you guys. Well, not that it's ever been a thought. You guys always knew you were going to come on here, but we always envisioned like
I was ready.
Like this, we don't have to have subject matter.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's
band practice, man.
People out there, listen, man. Like, if you haven't checked out yet, check out Shit Gets Deep podcast. I'm not bullshitting. There is you guys are on episode 78 right now?
Yep, I think so.
Okay, so out of 78 episodes, I guarantee you're gonna fall in love with one of the first 3 that you listen to. No matter if you listen to 26 first, which I'm on, that was my first appearance, or you listen to 77, or you go back and listen to the first one. Like, I'm telling you, these guys are. First of all, they're genuinely good, great people, but they're entertaining. They come with so much different stuff. No matter what you're into, I guarantee they have some type of episode. Man, thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind words.
Science
all that stuff.
Got a little something that we give all of our guests.
Oh, man.
These are not out yet, but all of our guests get one.
I'm going to be official now, man.
And I am working on the official barbecue box for next
love
summer.
it. Yeah, go get your barbecue box.
Yes.
Thank you guys for that, by the way.
The Shit Gets Deep podcast is the ones that did the barbecue box that you can go to our page and see it.
We were just so hyped up on it. I was like, their first episode's out, man. We got to do something.
Dude, we appreciate that so much, bro. Sure. Seriously, you have no clue.
Do you know Dana never seen that?
The first episode?
No.
Oh, she never seen the clip that they sent us of the unveiling of the barbecue box.
She was like, no, I didn't really know what it was. I thought it was something that just popped up. And so I was showing it to her the other day, and she was like, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
well,
good.
you asked us for some like B-roll type of material, and him and I thought about it, and he just looks at me and goes, we can't just send them some bullshit. I was like, of course we can't.
And now me and him talked, and I go, man, they set the bar so high. That's why we still haven't put out our Shit Gets Deep video yet because
Right.
we're like, man, this is going to have to be a big production. There has to be aliens.
I'm waiting for my friend who's out in Hollywood right now. He's gonna come through and
We need makeup artists, all types of shit. Like we need aliens. We need
got craft services tables.
We need Bob Lazar himself to come do an appearance.
Shout out to Bob, man.
Fucking Bob. You haven't heard Bob's name in a while, have you?
I know, I have
He's been
not.
real under the radar ever since they've been talking about, almost because they don't
I've
want to bring
noticed.
him in because they don't want to go, okay, you can tell us I told you so.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Shout out to Bob Lazar, man.
I have.
What's up?
We talked about Bob on the episode that you were on. That's why I said that.
Yeah. Actually, we talked about Bob on a couple of different episodes.
Yeah.
I remember Mike's first time coming to your guys' podcast.
Yes.
He wasn't on the first half of it, and he was sitting there, and I remember at halfway through the show, Science Scott looks over him. This is during the break, and he goes, "Hey, man, you all right?" He goes, Mike goes, "Man," he goes, "I'm not going to lie." He goes, "You guys know your fucking shit." He goes, "I'm Googling stuff as you guys are saying it because I'm like, what are these fuckers talking about?" And everything was on point with what you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
And I said, "Dude, that's why it's fucking
It's
great."
just a certain kind of crazy, big
Yeah,
Mike.
yeah.
Just
And that, I mean, even when I listen to your episodes now, man, I'm just like, I'm constantly like, damn.
I'm just
This
good
shit's
at
deep.
repeating shit that I heard other people say. That's all. You know,
Well, we enjoy it. We enjoy you being on our show.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Anything you want to shout out,
Facts.
plug?
Well, since I got to do it right, shout outs to Luxby Day. If you don't have one,
Yes,
get
sir.
yourself one. Get that Neo 120. It's Amazon's top choice. Damn it, Joshua gives it 7 stars. Kind of, we'll call it a semi kind of through running joke on our podcast, but they actually did give us a promo code to give out to people and stuff. So we always open up with a Luxby Day ad. That's kind of been one of the things about our show. However, as much as I joke, I got 3 of the things, man. I live my life by that B-Day life. So, yeah, shout outs to Luxby Day because
Shout out to the Crotch Uzi.
we've had, yep, that's right. I still haven't bought that website, but I'm going to. But no, man, I just glad to be here. I really don't got nothing to plug other than if you want to check out our show, we're on. We do have an Instagram that Shit Gets Deep Podcast. We got our YouTube channel where you can watch us too if you want to watch us. But we're on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, all the places you can find them. And we also do have a number that we've been trying to get out in circulation there. It's 510.
Get
Get
deep.
deep.
I wanted to be.
So-
I wanted to tell you I have memorized that because I'm calling
Yeah.
it next time I get to
Because
drinking.
I want to start something where we get like the old school radio call-in kind of
Yeah.
feel to it, where it's like, "Hey man, this is Tommy. I'm over here, and I want to say, Ted owes me $5. Like I would love to just get something like that because it would make my day.
Lunatic Kieran loved that because he had the I was telling him about it, and
Had
he
a
had the
line.
drunken hotline or the drunken call line for years.
Yes,
For the Lunatic Radio Show.
I thought that's what I did.
No, that's real. That's
that was real life.
that's like when Dave Chappelle goes, "No, this is real life." Like that was real life. This is people they don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's different.
Yeah. So 510 get deep. You can text message or call that one. So yeah, man, give us a shot. We hope you like it.
That's what's up, man. Mike, what do you got going on, man? What do you want to say to the party
I
people?
got nothing, man. You got the comedy show coming up. That's November 24th.
Yep.
Looking forward to
That's
that.
going to be at Quality Inn,
Yep.
Monroe, Michigan. Some good comics. Check it out.
Yeah, that's it's the night before Thanksgiving. It's the biggest bar night of the year. We have Marv Ross is our headliner. Ronnie Chanel, Detroit Red is going to be our host. We also have a local comedian, Red Dog. It's going to be cool. DJ Todd Dumas. I would say his DJ name, but I can't. I don't never say that. I just say Todd D. We'll just say Todd D. But he'll be spinning on the wheels of steel after the show. So there's going to be an after party. That's all at Quality Inn on North Dixie in Monroe, Michigan. Tickets go online. Actually, they're online right now. It's called Jokes and Jams. So go to Jokes and Jams on our Facebook. Or I've made a couple plugs on our Beyond the Treks podcast or at TJ the Mayor. They're on that. So you want to go get your tickets? Go get your tickets. The VIPs are already sold out, but there is general admission tickets. So go check that out. That's November 24th. Jokes and Jams here in Monroe. Shout out again, 8 Mile Vodka. Born in Detroit.
Just ordered my hoodie, by the way. Should be here, I think, Monday.
Nice.
Did you?
I did. They finally got some fat people.
I was about to say,
bro.
they've been listening. They've been listening. They got you. They got the big folks size.
As soon as I seen it, I was like, I literally was at work because I check it about once a week, and I'm like, seeing it, I was like, boom.
There we go.
Didn't know how much it cost until actually I was paying for it. I didn't care.
Didn't even matter.
It could have been like $400.
I just ordered. I have to give a huge shout out to this man. I can't wait until we link up. But I just ordered. Let me, because I don't want to say the name of the book wrong. So Pete Rendina.
Yes.
Okay, you know the Rendinas from Michigan
Absolutely.
Bar and Pete's Garage.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Pete Rendina has put out a children's book, and I thought it was going to be here today, and I was totally going to put it up. Sorry, Pete. I was totally going to put it up on the screen, but it'll be here tomorrow. It's called Little B Isn't Afraid of Halloween. It's a children's book. You can get the paperback for $9 on Amazon. I would tell you guys, listen, I haven't even seen the thing, but I have children.
Yep.
And hey, man, like that's cool. Somebody writing children's book, come on, that's got to be a good person, right? So shout out to Pete Rendina, and also shout out to the Dev Group, everybody over there. They've been doing like super big productions around town, and the Brain Jerk Company, all them guys. Like I'm super fans, and I just want to let you know, Pete. I checked it out. I was gonna plug you in today, man. My boy Mikey put me onto it, and it's dope. But it's coming tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for writing the children's book, man.
I ordered 2 last night.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Well, now that I know it's out there, I will too.
Yeah, man. Support, man. Support. That's
what
cool
it's
shit.
all about with us.
Yeah.
Once again, what? Support local.
That's
Yes,
right. Buy
absolutely.
local. Do it.
Absolutely. So with that being said, man, I am your boy TJ the Mayor.
It's your man DJ Big Mike.
I am the Pirate Chef. Peace and love.
And this has been another episode of Beyond the Tracks podcast. Peace.
We out.